Hi friends, good evening. So your exams have started, your paper 1, paper 2, FR and SFM is over, and now paper 3, advanced auditing. The auditing and law are the two papers left in your G1, and I tell you, don't take theory subjects lightly. I'm telling you, you might have felt, suppose your FR or SFM didn't go well, but you will not have a problem in that. Problem will actually come in the paper of either your auditing or your law. So I just hope your paper of FR SFM has gone really well, and now we need to crack the paper of auditing. So our target is not just to clear out auditing with 50 marks. No, the objective is basically to get an exemption in auditing. Yes, 60 marks has to be the target. In this 2 days of marathon, today 7 to 10:30 p.m. Yeah, 7 to 8:30 we'll do chapter of company audit. 9 to 10:30 we'll do professional ethics. So today we are doing two chapters, company audit, professional ethics, and tomorrow morning 8 o'clock to evening 7 o'clock we'll be together. Morning 8 to 1:30. I repeat, morning 8 to 1:30 we'll do auditing standards, and 2 o'clock onwards we'll do all the remaining chapters. So sir, are we going to skip anything? Answer is no. We'll cover up each and everything in marathon over here. Only thing is, questions, all of them will not be covered. We'll cover up theories and questions which are marked as important. Now, material. Sir, which material to refer over here? The material, whatever you have referred. If you have done my material, well and good. If you have studied from some other faculty, whatever material you referred, you just keep your material open. You can't go on searching for a new material on the last day. Now, sir, which is this material? The material kept open over here, which is this material. This material is the material of the batch which I took in the month of April. The April to June. The April, May, June, I had a batch which was taken at Unacademy. This batch got over on 15th June 22. It's a regular batch material. So imagine, we are revising not from fast track batch material, not from a summary material. We are revising from our regular batch material, and this is basically of the batch which I took in April, May and June. The latest material covering all the amendments over here. After this, we also did a session on RTP of November 22. So everything will get covered over here. Just be with me. I'm telling you, be with me for 2 days, and I rest assured we'll complete off auditing in a detailed manner. Before I move ahead, let me just talk about the new thing which we launched at Unacademy. See, the problem was students were telling, sir, at Unacademy we had to take the entire group 1 or group 2 subscription. Now we came out with a subject-wise subscription. Yes, the subject-wise subscription is available to you, and the rates definitely are cheaper, though it's always beneficial for the students. Now, this will be high quality studio recorded lectures. So these are not live lectures, it is high quality studio recorded lectures. You can watch at your own pace, and the benefit, if suppose you did not understood a concept, you can just go back. You can just go back and watch it again. So sir, what about doubts? There will be a live doubt solving sessions which will be done on a regular basis, weekly basis. Live doubt solving sessions will be there. Plus, you'll have an evaluated test series. An evaluated test series is not just in Iconic but also in Plus. So all students will get evaluated test series as well. So take up this subscription, use code CA Niket. You go use the code CA Niket, you'll get a special discount. FR is already launched. Auditing will be launching in next month. I repeat, FR, individual subscription, already launched with the latest material, covering latest ICI material, covering your RTPs till November 22, suggested answers till May 22. Everything is covered, and auditing will come up next month. Let's begin with the today's session. So 7 to 8:30 we are doing company audit, and then 8:30 to 9 will be break, and 9 to 10:30 will be doing professional ethics. Keep your books open. I repeat, this material is the material which I have used in the batch which I took in April, May, June 22, the latest batch which was taken. And the link of material is also given in the chat box. If someone wants this link of material, it's also given in the chat box, but please don't change your material at the last moment. You just stick to your material, whatever you referred. Chalo, karte shubh shuruaat. We start with company audit, directly going to your section 141. Section 141 is qualification, disqualification of an auditor. Who is qualified to be auditor of a company? A chartered accountant within the meaning of Chartered Accountant Act 1949. Now, Companies Act doesn't say you should hold a COP. They just say that chartered accountant within the meaning of Chartered Accountant Act, and Chartered Accountant Act says if you want to practice, you need a COP. When a firm is appointed, we can appoint a firm, but majority of the partners should be qualified for appointment. So if majority are chartered accountant holding COP, we can appoint a firm also. And firm is appointed, only the partners who are chartered accountant. Again, within the meaning of Chartered Accountant Act, they are only authorized to act and sign. This is okay. Important is disqualification. Who are disqualified to be auditor? First one is body corporate. That's okay. Second, officer or employee of the company. Now, officer or employee of the company is disqualified only for that company. I repeat, he is disqualified only for that company, not the group companies. Okay, imagine over here, Mr. A, chartered accountant, Mr. A is a officer, say non-executive director. You are a non-executive director of Z Limited. Can you be the auditor of subsidiary of Z Limited? You are a non-executive director of Z Limited. Can you be auditor of subsidiary of Z? Answer is yes. You are disqualified only for the company, not for the group company. And the word officer includes your director, manager, KMP. And director will include all types of directors. Okay, next. Third one who is disqualified. A person who is a partner or employee of the officer or employee. The officer employee disqualified, their partner, their employees are also disqualified. Imagine, Mr. A is a non-executive director of Z Limited. Mr. A gets disqualified, firm gets disqualified. Remember, one partner disqualified, firm disqualified. Now, the other partners of Mr. A, they will also get disqualified as per clause number C. Next, the fourth one is important. You, your relative or your partner. Your relative or partner is holding any security or interest in the company or entire group. So यहाँ पे it's not just the company, it's company or its subsidiary or its holding or associate or subsidiary of such holding, other fellow subsidiaries. So if you, your relative or your partner is holding any security in the company or group, you are disqualified. Now relative can hold up to a face value 1 lakh. Relative can hold up to a face value 1 lakh. Acha, if relative holding exceeds face value 1 lakh, you are not immediately disqualified. You are given 60 days for corrective action. If relative ka holding exceeds more than 1 lakh, you are not immediately disqualified. You are given 60 days for corrective action. So when I am disqualified, when me or my partner hold a single security, disqualified. Relative holds face value more than 1 lakh, then only disqualified. But in relative case, I become disqualified after how many days? 60 days. Now, I have a question. See, the 60 days are only for relative. Partner hold the share, he sold off within 60 days. No. Corrective action only for relative. Now, over here, who is included in the word relative? This is important. The relative includes members of HUF. If I have a HUF, all my members of HUF, husband and wife. Now, third one, a person who is related in such manner as may be prescribed. It is father, mother, brother, sister, spouse. I repeat, father, mother, brother, sister, spouse. Your son, son's wife, daughter, daughter's husband. Okay, son, son's wife, daughter, daughter's husband. It's only one line. Grandfather, grandmother, they are not covered. Uncle, aunts, they are not covered in relative. Fine. Now, second over here, it's if you, your relative or your partner, is indebted to the company or group for amount exceeding rupees 5 lakh, disqualified. Now see, the limit of 1 lakh was for all relatives together. यहाँ पे the limit of 5 lakh is for you plus all your relative plus all your partners together. And third one, you, your relative or partner is given a guarantee or provided security to the company or group for the debt of third person for amount exceeding 1 lakh. Acha, the guarantee if you are given exceeding 1 lakh, disqualified. If we ourselves are indebted exceeding 5 lakh, we are disqualified. Okay, check this question 4, it's a good one. Check this question 4, it's a good one. Okay, now Madhu has a question, sir, if before appointment only the relative has shares. Now see, before appointment only relative has shares, you cannot be appointed. Then you are disqualified on the day of appointment only. But after appointment, relative took the shares, you are given 60 days for corrective action. Before appointment only, he had the shares, you cannot be appointed. Okay, now check over here. Daughter of Mr. Y. She holds face value 45, market value 90 is of no use. and husband of daughter. Whether husband of daughter is covered in relative? Yes. Remember son, son's wife, daughter, daughter's husband. He is holding a face value 90. Okay, the total daughter 45, husband of daughter 90, total became 135. And they sold off on 10th March. Okay, 10th March. Now see, they are appointed when? They are appointed when on 12th June. Is it sold off within, basically the securities, this exceeded the limit on 10 December. So 10th December ko the limit of 1 lakh got exceeded. Now is it sold off within 60 days? No, it is sold off after 60 days. And as it is after 60 days, you are disqualified. So over here, it is disqualified. Next, I'm just taking the important questions. Theories will cover everything. Okay. Check the question over here. Question number 9. This is the regular material for the batch which I started in the month of April. April, May, June, I've taken a batch at Unacademy. Okay, Mr. A was appointed as an auditor of X Limited to audit for a period of 5 years. And they are telling on 147, the opening date, you are disqualified. Acha, 147, you are basically indebted for 6 lakh. But when are you appointed? You are appointed on 16th of August. Acha, you understood they are going to appoint you. So before 16th August, 14th August, 14th August, you have repaid the amount. So on the day of appointment, you are not disqualified. I repeat, on the day of appointment, you are not disqualified. I have to see on the date of appointment and then later on. So over here, answer is you are not disqualified. See the note. The relevant date for reckoning disqualification is the date of appointment. So before I was appointed, I was disqualified. That's okay. That doesn't matter. Next one, similar over here. See, Mrs. A, wife of Mr. A, had given a guarantee. How much was the guarantee given? 6 lakh. Okay, the person has repaid 5 lakh. Okay, person has repaid 5 lakh when? 2 days before the date of appointment. So before the date of appointment, 5 lakh is repaid. So can I say now loan remains only 1 lakh? So our guarantee, your loan is 1 lakh. So can I say our guarantee is also 1 lakh? Acha, guarantee exceeding 1 lakh, we are disqualified. Answer over here is we will not be disqualified. Answer over here will be we will not be disqualified. Okay, next. 5th one. If you have a business relationship, if you are having a business relationship with a company or group, you are disqualified. Now, business relationship kisko bolenge? This is important. Any transaction which is entered for commercial purpose. Any transaction entered for commercial purpose, that's a business relationship. Exception. Chartered accountant providing services of professional nature is fine. And for certain classes of businesses, if transactions are in ordinary course of business, imagine airline, telecommunication, if transactions are in ordinary course of business, then in that case, they are covered under exception of business relationship. So if we have a business relationship with a company or group, disqualified. What is business relationship? This is important, 2 points. Next, this is fine. F point. If your relative is a director or KMP, you are disqualified. I repeat, relative has to be a director or a KMP. If relative is a normal employee, we are not disqualified. Next, if you are in full-time employment elsewhere, if you are already in full-time employment, you don't have a time to do audit, or they are telling, if you already hold audit of 20 companies, but 20 will not include OPC, dormant company, small company, private limited company having a paid up capital less than 100 crores, they are not included. But private companies less than 100 crores will not be included provided, this is important, provided they have filed their financial statements as per section 137 and they have filed their annual return as per section 92 with ROC on a timely basis. They should not have defaulted in section 137 and 92, then only they are excluded. TK, when I'm calculating the limits, suppose in a firm there are 3 partners. Out of 3 partners, 1 is in whole-time employment. So for a firm, maximum 40 audits can be taken. 40 audits maximum can be taken either in individual name or firm name. Altogether, it should not exceed 40. Fine. The limit is 20 for company audit and 20 may, this all things are not included. But now, if you say small private companies not included, I do small private companies unlimited, dear, you should have a time na. So your ICAI says including this small private company, you can do is maximum 30. Including this small private company is 30. TK, check this question. ABC and Co is a firm. ABC they already have audit in personal name 4, 6, 10. Can I say 20 audits are already there in personal name? The maximum that can be taken in firm's name will be the remaining 40. 60 minus 20 in personal name. Okay, how many maximum audit can be taken in individual name? 4, 6, 10 are there. So it will be 16, 14 and remaining 10. Now the firm is offered. Can ABC and Co accept appointment as audit of 60 private companies having paid up capital less than 100 crore? See, these are all excluded. 60 private company less than 100 crore, 2 small company, 1 dormant company, they're excluded. So can we take them? Answer is yes. Okay, would your answer be different if out of 60, 45 have a paid up capital 110? Now see, partners already have 20 audits in personal name 4, 6 and 10. The firm can take 40. Can they take 45 having a paid up capital 110? No, we cannot take 45. We can take maximum 40. Next one, H point, if you are convicted by court of an offense involving fraud. If you are convicted by court of an offense involving fraud, you are disqualified for a period of how many years? 10 years you are disqualified. And if you are rendering services covered under section 144, then also disqualified. We cannot render the service to the company or its holding company or its subsidiary. See, we cannot render the services to company or its holding company or its subsidiary. Can I render the services to the associate company? Answer is yes. Fine. Now, sir, which are the services covered under section 144? So, directly or indirectly, we should not be providing the services. Which one? Accounting and bookkeeping, internal audit, design implementation of financial information system, actuarial services, investment advisory, investment banking, rendering of outsourced financial services, management services, any other services which may be prescribed. Till now, nothing is prescribed. Okay, this we should not be providing directly or indirectly. Now, directly or indirectly means we should not provide, our firm should not provide, our network firm should not provide, our relatives also should not provide. So, this is basically directly, indirectly, you should not be providing it. Plus, if we have a company created for providing consultancy, so can chartered accountants form a company? We can form a company not for doing audit, but we can form a company for providing consultancy services. Such a company also cannot provide this services to the company or the holding company or the subsidiary company where we are an auditor. I hope you are clear. Anywhere if you are stuck up, just stop me at the same time, and if you are clear, definitely write down yes, 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 yes. Okay, and after the lecture, do give me a feedback what changes you need whenever we are taking the lecture tomorrow. Fine. Can a statutory auditor act for the same company? For the same company, can I be internal auditor? No. For the same company, can I be a tax auditor, GST auditor? Yes. Can I be a consultant other than 144? Yes. Can I be liquidator of the same company? No. Next, appointment of auditor. See, first auditor is very simple. It is to be appointed by board of directors within 30 days. If board fails, they have to inform the members, and members will appoint in next 90 days. TK. Now, over here, appointment of first auditor for a government company, the first auditor is appointed by C&AG within 60 days of incorporation. If C&AG doesn't appoint, board will appoint in next 30 days. And if board fails, they will inform the shareholders will appoint in next 60 days. So here the limit is 60, 30, 60. And shareholders ke liye the days will start from the day the shareholders are informed. I repeat. For shareholders, the days will start from the days the shareholders are informed. Clear with this? Okay, Pranav has a question that, sir, we cannot render section 144 services to the company, to the holding company or subsidiary. Can I render it to their associate company? Answer is yes. Okay, now wherever we are auditor, we cannot render. Some other place where we are no way connected, can we render? Definitely. Okay, check over here. The first auditor of government company was appointed by BOD, not valid. C&AG will appoint. Subsequent auditor, this is important. In that, certificate point is important. Now pay attention. See, first auditor was appointed by BOD, but that first auditor will remain till the conclusion of first AGM. Now, first AGM comes, the shareholders will appoint. That every company shall at first AGM appoint auditor or auditors who shall hold office from the conclusion of first AGM to the conclusion of sixth AGM. So can I say for 5 years? Conclusion of first AGM to conclusion of sixth AGM. And sir, what is the manner of appointment? When we say company will appoint, does shareholder go and search for that? No. The appropriate authority Appropriate authority will go and search. Now, sir, who is appropriate authority? If audit committee required, audit committee is appropriate authority. Audit committee not required, BOD will be the appropriate authority. The audit committee recommends the name to board of directors. Board of directors recommends to shareholders. Shareholders appoints by passing an ordinary resolution. The audit committee to board, board to shareholder, shareholder appoints. Now, pay attention. Before we appoint the auditor, we take a written consent of theirs and we take a certificate containing 4 things. So what are the things included in certificate? This is important. So before we appoint auditor, a written consent is taken and a certificate is taken. The certificate shall include that the auditor is eligible for appointment. He is eligible for appointment, not disqualified. Appointment is as per the terms of the act. Appointment is within the limits. Remember, limit of 20. And the auditor is required to give a list of proceedings. Whatever are the proceedings going on against the auditor, uska firm or uska partner, that list is to be given and the list is to be certified by auditor as true and correct. See, auditor is not certifying financials as true and correct. Auditor is certifying the list of proceedings going on against them as true and correct. Clear? TK, now once the shareholders have appointed the auditor, the company will inform to the auditor as well as to the ROC by filing form number ADT1 within 15 days. Now, who is required to have audit committee? This is important. Okay, whether private companies need audit committee? No, only public companies. And public mein which one? Only public mein which one? First, listed all. For listed, don't see the limit. For other than the listed one, unlisted. Public companies, paid up capital 10 crores or more, turnover 100 crores or more, and last one is your outstanding loans, borrowings, debentures, public deposit exceeding 50 crores. यहाँ पे word exceeding है, not equal to. First two में it is 10 crores or more, 100 crores or more. यहाँ पे exceeding 50 crores. Private companies don't need audit committee. Public में, listed में all, unlisted में the limits are to be given. And limits are of last audited financial statement. Okay, subsequent auditor for a government company. Who will appoint the subsequent auditor for a government company? C&AG will appoint within 180 days from the commencement of financial year. Within 180 days from the commencement of financial year. And C&AG doesn't appoint for 5 years. He shall hold office till the conclusion of AGM. Which one? Next 3 years, depending on C&AG's order. Okay, casual vacancy. Casual vacancy, who will fill it? Okay, for a government company, casual vacancy is filled by C&AG only within 30 days. Achha, if it is not a government company, normal company, BOD will fill it within 30 days. But if casual vacancy is due to resignation, it is recommended by board of directors. It has to be approved by shareholder within 3 months of recommendation of board. Within 3 months, कब से? Within 3 months of recommendation of board. TK, and now, suppose there was a casual vacancy, we appoint someone, that guy does not take up the appointment. If that guy does not take up the appointment, the casual vacancy is not complete, it is continued. So, do the board get another 30 days? Answer is no, they don't get another 30 days. Achha sir, if board does not fill casual vacancy 30 days mein, what will happen? They only will fill it. But as they are filling late, penalty will apply. Section 147 is on penalty. Next. This is fine. Come to 139 subsection 10. Okay. Remember, first AGM, shareholders had to appoint the auditor and he will remain for 5 years. So again, 6th AGM, then 11th AGM, then 16th AGM, so on. If no auditors are appointed or reappointed at an AGM, so first AGM, 6th AGM, 11th AGM, if auditor is not appointed or reappointed, the existing auditors will continue. Who will continue? The existing auditors will continue. Next one, rotation and term is important. Next one, rotation term is important. Some water. Every 15-20 minutes, a sip of water, that is going to keep you fresh. Okay. Now, is rotation of auditor mandatory? No, it's not mandatory for everyone. So, sir, for whom it is mandatory? For listed companies and other prescribed class of company, the rotation is mandatory. Okay, so listed mein mandatory rotation after certain years. Other prescribed. Sir, who is coming under other prescribed? Check over here. Unlisted public company, paid up capital 10 crores or more. Private company, paid up capital 50 crores or more. Okay, the public company paid up capital 10 crores or more, private company paid up capital 50 crores or more, all public, private having loans and borrowings from banks, financial institution x 50 crores or more, all having loans, borrowings from banks, financial institution 50 crores or more, to them rotation applies. Now sir, if rotation applies, how do we rotate? If you appointed an individual, he can be there for a maximum one term of consecutive 5 years. If you appointed a firm can be there for a maximum of 2 term of consecutive 5 years. The individual for 5 years, firm can be there for 10 years. Whenever you're rotating, a new firm should not have a common partner. Common partner should not be there. Plus, a new firm should not be a network firm. It has to be a completely new firm. There cannot be a single common partner as well. Are you clear? Okay, now when I'm counting this period, 5 years, 10 years, if you have already served under old act, the period which you have served under old act, that also needs to be considered when this new act came. Old act mein there was no rotation, new act came. So sir, how many years I can still continue? Your remaining period or 3 years, whichever is higher. So you already served 6, remaining was 4. Imagine it's a firm. You already served 6, remaining was 4. 4 or 3, whichever is higher. Okay? Now I have a question. They say firm, for listed company, other prescribed class of company, you have a rotation applicable. Firm is to be rotated. Auditor is to be rotated. Question. If firm is there for 10 years, whether a same partner can do the audit for all 10 years? So can engagement partner be same for all 10 years? Companies Act is silent. They say members will decide. But there's SQC1. SQC1 says the engagement partner for a listed company. For a listed company, the engagement partner should be rotated after a period not exceeding 7 years. Okay, for listed company, engagement partner has to be rotated. For other prescribed class of company, firm ka rotation applicable, engagement partner rotation not applicable. Are you clear? Are you clear? Okay, this was your section 139. Next one is section 142. Section 142 is your remuneration of auditor. Okay, remuneration of auditor is fixed in a general meeting or in a manner as is decided in general meeting. First auditor, the remuneration is fixed by BOD. Acha, government company. For a government company, who will fix the remuneration? Same way, it's fixed in general meeting or in a manner as is decided in general meeting. Okay. Now removal resignation section 140, iske andar there are 5 subsections. Okay, section 140 subsection 1, removal of auditor before the expiry of term. See, before expiry of term means it's before the first AGM or before 6th AGM or before 11th AGM, because they are appointed. For first auditor was till first AGM, subsequent was till 6th. So before that, if I want to remove, they need a prior approval of central government as well as a special resolution of shareholders. First of all, BOD will pass a resolution. We want to remove the auditor. Once BOD has passed a resolution, they will first go to CG. They will apply to CG in ADT 2. Once the approval of CG comes, within 60 days, they are required to hold a general meeting. They are required to hold a general meeting of shareholder and pass a special resolution. And before the auditor goes away, opportunity of being heard will definitely be given to him. Okay, next is 140 subsection 2 and 3 is resignation of auditor. Can an auditor resign? Definitely he can resign. So which reason? Any reason he can resign. But if you are resigning, you are required to inform to company, you are required to inform to ROC. And if it's a government company, you also have to inform to C and AG within 30 days of your resignation by filing form number ADT 3. And you're also required to indicate the reasons why you're resigning if you violate this provision. The penalty is 50,000 or your remuneration, whichever is less. 50,000 or remuneration, whichever is less. Now there's amendment, continuing failure. If there's a continuing failure, further penalty 500 per day, maximum is 2 lakh. Earlier the limit was 5 lakh, now it is 2 lakh. Acha, check this question 21. They'd given a big thing. CA Donald, he could not continue because his wife has got a government job. They're shifting. Question is, how much fine will he be liable under section 140 subsection 3? So can I say they're just talking about this last point, penalty? So 50,000 or his remuneration, whichever is less. Continuing failure 500 per day, maximum up to rupees 2 lakhs. Okay, next one is section 140 subsection 4, appointment of auditor other than the retiring auditor. But when? See, this is at first AGM or at 6th AGM or at 11th AGM at that time. We are appointing. Now see, normally I told you, the audit committee recommends the name to board, board to shareholder, shareholder appoints. Now sir, what if being a shareholder, I want to recommend someone's name? Can I do that? Yes. But you should be holding somewhat, at least 1% of voting power or face value not less than 5 lakh. Either 1% voting power or face value 5 lakh you should be holding, then you can recommend the name. So imagine I am a shareholder, I want to nominate the name, so I should tell it before that AGM comes, right? The first AGM or 6th AGM where appointment is going to happen, I need to tell before that. Okay, so a special notice. Normally company gives notice to shareholder, यहाँ पे shareholder is giving notice to the company. The special notice is required for appointing a person other than the retiring auditor or expressly telling don't reappoint him. Okay, the shareholder should give a special notice. Sir, कब देना है? At least 14 days before AGM, but not before 3 months of AGM. And that shareholder should hold at least 1% voting power or not less than face value 5 lakh rupees. The company got a notice telling that instead of A, appoint B or don't reappoint A. What should company do? What should company do? Company should send the copy of the notice to the retiring auditor, the one who is going to complete his term, as well as they need to inform to all other shareholders. To all other shareholders, they need to inform at least 7 days before AGM. The retiring auditor has a right to make a representation. The representation should be of a reasonableness in writing. If company has received a representation, now pay attention, if company has received representation on timely basis, it should be circulated to other shareholders. But if company could not receive on timely basis, it could not be circulated. If it could not be circulated, if it was received too late, what should company do? One, they need to send a copy of representation to every member to whom the notice is sent. If it is, unless the representation is received too late. If it is not received too late, you send a copy. If you are not able to send, you need to send a copy to the ROC also, and you need to read it at an AGM. If it is received late, it is not sent, you may read out at the AGM and it should be filed with ROC. Now suppose if representation contains something wrong which a company feels should not be read, should not be circularized, they need to apply it to tribunal. If tribunal is satisfied, the given approval, then no need to circulate, no need to read out the representation. Okay, next one, this is important. 140 subsection 5 is important. Direction by tribunal for an auditor who has acted in a fraudulent manner. Okay, tribunal's direction for the auditor who has acted in fraudulent manner. If tribunal suo moto or on application made by CG or any person, if tribunal is satisfied that the auditor has acted in a fraudulent manner, it may not mandatory, it may direct the company to change the auditor. And if CG had made a application and the tribunal is satisfied, then in that case, within 15 days, the tribunal has to make an order and the new auditor may be appointed by CG, Okay, plus, if the tribunal is telling the company to change the auditor, that auditor will not be eligible for appointment or reappointment in this company or any company for a period of 5 years. Now, someone told me, sir, if you are guilty of fraud, were 10 years disqualified. If at all you are convicted by court for a fraud, 10 years disqualified. If you are convicted by this tribunal, then you are disqualified for 5 years. Plus, you will also be liable for penalty under section 447, which is for the fraud. Clear with this? Achha, only one thing. If suppose by chance an imprisonment is coming to any of the partner, the imprisonment is only for the partner who has acted in a wrong manner. Otherwise, the liability is joint and several of firm as well as all partners, but imprisonment is only for the partner who has acted in a wrong way. Now, check over here. Question number 22. You succumbed to the pressure of management, you certified overstated figures of turnover, and now tribunal got to know that you have done something wrong, fraudulently. Briefly list the powers of tribunal. If you found out auditor is guilty of fraud, I have to write about section 140 subsection 5. I tell you, most important in auditing is understanding what is asked. And for understanding what is asked, the last line is the most important. So please read last 1 or 2 lines of questions very carefully. Next one, powers of auditor. Very simple. First, you have a right to access books of accounts. That's okay. Your right to get information explanation. That's okay. You can access the books of subsidiary associate so far as it relates for consolidation. If you're auditing CFS, you can see the books of subsidiary associate also. And you have a right to report to the members on the accounts examined by you. This is okay. Okay, other rights mein section 146 is important. Section 146 is important. All notices, other communication related to general meeting, AGM, EGM, should also be forwarded to the auditor. And the auditor shall, unless exempted by company, attend the general meeting either himself or through authorized representative. And the authorized representative should also be a chartered accountant holding COP. He should be qualified to become auditor. Okay, so see, they've written word very clearly, auditor shall attend the general meeting unless exempted by company. So see, if you don't want to attend, you have to take an exemption. If you want to attend, they cannot stop you. They cannot stop you. And you have a right to attend general meeting, not the board meeting. Okay, right of lien. If suppose the company is not paying your dues, can I exercise right of lien? Can I exercise right of lien on the books of accounts? So can I keep their books of accounts? So now, Institute of Chartered Accountant of England and Wales, they say yes, subject to 4 conditions, which is fine. But section 128 practically makes it impracticable. You cannot go for right of lien. Reason, the books of accounts has to be kept at registered office. If you go for right of lien, they are not at registered office. And your ethical standard board of ICAI, they have clearly said don't go for right of lien. So can you go for right of lien? No. Ethical Standard Board has clearly said no. If your fees are unpaid, do one thing. Kya karo? You leave the audit. You leave the audit, new auditor cannot accept the audit unless the undisputed fees of previous auditor is paid off. Fine. Okay, now there's a question from Prateek. Can parents auditor asked for subsidiary auditor's working paper for CFS audit? Acha, so parent ka auditor, can they ask for subsidiary auditor ka working papers? Now see, parents auditor cannot ask subsidiary auditor for its working paper. वो उसकी property है. Subsidiary auditor's working paper are his property. Parents auditor cannot ask for it. And remember, you are not responsible for the work of subsidiary. Remember SA 600, using the work of another auditor. You are not responsible for the work performed by another auditor. Other auditor includes branch auditor as well as subsidiary auditor. Prateek, ye SA 600 question hai, I'll come to it later. As such, it is done. Next, we have duties of auditor. Okay, duties of auditor, section 143, subsection 1. Section 143, subsection 1 is duty to inquire 6 matters. Inquire mandatorily, report only if there are adverse comment. Acha, which are the matters we have to inquire? Okay, so whether loans or advances made by the company given on the basis of security, whether they are adequately secured and the terms are not prejudicial to the interest of company. Okay. Second, whether the transactions represented by mere book entry are not prejudicial to the interest of company. Third one, company is not an investment company or banking company, still they have assets in form of shares, debentures of other company which are sold at a loss. So whether the price at which they are sold is bona fide. Agar price at which they are sold is bona fide, no need to report. You have to report only if there is adverse comment. Fourth one, whether loans and advances have been shown as deposits. Fifth one, whether personal expenses have been charged to revenue. And last one, if shares are allotted for cash, whether cash is collected. If not, whether it's properly reflected in financial statement. And now see, yahan pe, there's a Spargo's case. What does Spargo's case say? If we are allotting shares in lieu of a genuine debt, so there was money, there was something payable in cash. Later, if I settle by giving shares, it is treated as shares allotted for cash. But practically, we are not getting cash, so it should be properly reflected in financial. If it is properly reflected in financials, no need to report. So section 143(1), 6 matters, inquire, report only if there is adverse comment. Next, this question is fine. Now see, types of audit report, will cover it with SA 700. The 700, 705 will do it. So leave the types of audit report. Now, section 143, subsection 2 and 3. Okay, 143(1), duty to inquire. Now section 143 2 and 3 is duty to report. 143 subsection 2, there are two matters mandatory to be reported. Which are the two matters? One, the accounts examined by us and the financial statement. And how do we report? In our opinion, to the best of information, according to the explanation given to us, the said accounts and the financial statement, see the word, the said accounts and the financial statement, gives the information required by the Act in a manner so required, and it shows a true and fair view of the state of affairs as at this date and profits and cash flow for year ended on this date. So two things, mandatory reporting. Okay, 143.3, there are 10 matters. 143.3, there are 10 matters which are to be mandatory reported if applicable. If something is not applicable, you can omit it. Otherwise, these are also mandatory to be reported. Which one? Number one, whether he has sought and obtained, so whether you asked for and whether you obtained all information, explanation which is necessary for the purpose of audit. Number two, whether proper books of accounts as required by law has been maintained by the company. Now, pay attention. See, यहाँ पे word लिखा है whether in his opinion. Same way in fifth also, in his opinion. So whenever they write in his opinion, we should start with in our opinion, proper books of accounts as required by law has been kept by the company so far as it appears from examination of those books and records. Third one, whether the report of branch office, if branch is audited by someone else, so whether the report of branch office audited by a person other than company auditor has been sent to you and how you dealt with the same while preparing your report. Now, if suppose company does not have branch or company does not have a separate branch auditor, this point will get omitted. Okay. Fourth one, whether the balance sheet P&L are in agreement with books of accounts. Fifth one, whether in your opinion the financial statements comply with accounting standards. If Ind AS is applicable, it will become Ind AS. Okay. Sixth one, observation or comments of auditor on financial transaction which have an adverse effect on functioning of company. If there are some transaction having adverse effect on functioning, uske upar your observation, your comments. If it is there, you write it. If it is not there, omit it. G point is important. Whether any director is disqualified to become a director under section 164 subsection 2. I repeat, whether any director is disqualified to be a director under section 164.2. Now, when a director becomes a disqualified under section 164.2, कब disqualify होगा? When company has not filed annual accounts, annual return for a consecutive period of 3 years, or company has done some default in payment of dividend, default in payment of loan, default in payment of debentures or uska interest, and the default continues for a period of 1 year or more. Default continues for a period of 1 year or more, then all the directors of that company are disqualified for appointment for a period of how many years? 5 years. ठीक है, तो we are required to tell whether the director is disqualified to be director under section 164.2. Now, pay attention. He is disqualified not in this company but all companies. Now imagine a director is director in 3 company. We are auditor of A Limited. Now other two companies have filed annual accounts, annual return or not, or other two companies may. There are no default. How do we know? We take a representation from the director. How do we report? On the basis of written representation received from director and taken on record by board of directors, none of the directors are disqualified to be appointed as director. Next, H point is any qualification, reservation, adverse remark relating to maintenance of books of accounts that we need to report. If it is there, you write. Nahi hai to mat likho. I is important, reporting on IFC. Whether the company has adequate internal financial controls with reference to financial reporting in place and they are operating effectively. Now see two things. Whether company has adequate internal financial reporting with reference to financial reporting in place and whether they are operating effectively. But IFC reporting is not required for whom? It is for small companies, OPC and private company turnover less than 50 crores last year wala and borrowings less than 25 crores current year. Turnover last year, borrowings current year. Did you understand? And J is any other matter as may be prescribed. Sir, are there any matters prescribed? Yes. And there are amendments also. Over here. This is important. Okay, so which are the other matters? One, whether the company has disclosed the impact of pending litigations properly in its financial statement. So pending litigations ka impact. Whether company has made provision for all for all material foreseeable losses on all your long-term contract, including the derivative contract. Whether there is delay in transferring funds to IPF. D point was related to demonetization wala, now it's omitted. D point was related to demonetization, now it is omitted. E is newly added. E is newly added. Now see, there are certain disclosures which are added in financials as per Schedule 3. So few amendments in Schedule 3 are there. Based on that, this has some extra reporting. Imagine if A Limited has given a loan, it's like A Limited has given a loan to B Limited with a condition B will give a loan to C. So A has given a loan, or A has invested in B with a condition B will give a loan, or B will invest in C, or B will give a guarantee or security on behalf of C. So in this case, A and B both needs to make certain disclosure. Both of them need to make certain disclosure in notes to accounts. So over here, whether the management has represented that to the best of knowledge and belief other than those disclosed in notes. Other than those disclosed in note, no fund have been advanced or loaned to someone with a understanding that they will again forward it to someone else. So this is from A Limited's point of view. And second one is for B Limited's point of view. Other than disclosed in notes, no fund has been received. B has received now with a condition to give it to someone else. Are you clear? So disclosures are required in note of A Limited, B Limited. Other than things disclosed, are there anything else? We are required to report that. Next, whether the dividend declared or paid is as per section 123 of your Companies Act, and if company is using audit software, accounting software, you're using accounting software, so whether audit trail feature, so whether it's maintaining the audit trail feature is you're able to understand all modifications, etc., whatever has been done. तो उससे आपको पता चले is any unauthorized excess happened or not, or is figures changed later on or not. So this is basically the thing under your section 143 subsection 10. Now pay attention. There can be, it's 143 subsection 3, 10th point. There can be a question like under section 143 subsection 3, there are some other matters which are to be reported if they are prescribed. List down just that other matters. Okay, if question is list down other matters, I need to write this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Agar question aaya just this other matters A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If I was setting a paper, I'll ask this type. Okay, next, this was section 143 subsection 3, going to section 143 subsection 4. Now, 143 subsection 4 says if answer to any of the thing is negative, you're required to give reasons. Okay, now section 143 subsection 910. Okay, the 143 5678 is pending. 5678 will come to it. Now, this is 143 subsection 910, duty to comply with auditing standards. Whenever you do audit, any company, even section 8 company ka audit karo, auditing standards are mandatory. What are auditing standards? They are the standards of auditing recommended by ICAI, prescribed by central government in consultation with NAFRA. Next, 143 subsection 11, duty, this is basically additional reporting based on central government's order. The CG may order the auditor to come out with some additional reporting. Based on this, there is CARO. Currently, we have CARO 2020. In your CARO 2020, there are 21 matters which are to be mandatory reported if CARO is applicable. We'll come to it. 143 subsection 12 is duty to report frauds. 143 subsection 12, kya hai? Duty to report fraud. This is important. This is important. Now, when, pay attention, individually, word very clearly written, if individually the fraud amount is 1 crore or more, committed not by the company, against the company. If it is committed by the company, it doesn't come here. So individually a fraud amount of 1 crore or more is committed against the company by officer or employees. The auditor is required to report the matter to central government. Like 1 crore or more individually, then CG, and it's against the company, not fraud by the company. Acha, procedure kya hoga? Whenever you find out such a fraud, you prepare a report on fraud. It's not a report on financials, it's prepared a report on fraud, and immediately or within 2 days you send it to board of directors or audit committee asking them to reply within 45 days. Okay, if they reply Once you get the reply from them, within 15 days, your report plus the reply, give it to CG. Sir, if I don't get a reply, 45 days are over, next 15 days, you send your report to CG telling no replies are received. So CG mein kisko? Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. How do I send it? Speed post. Speed post, or basically registered post acknowledgement due, followed by an email. And the format, the content basically which I have to write under section 143.12 is as per ADT4. ADT4 gives you the content, the way to report the fraud. Acha sir, what if the fraud amount individually is less than 1 crore? If it is less than 1 crore, you prepare a report on fraud, you communicate to BOD audit committee. No need to ask for reply, no need to go to central government. Acha, we'll just tell it to audit committee or board, and whenever we are informing, we'll inform to them, 1, the nature of fraud, 2nd, approximate amount involved, and 3rd, the parties involved. And see, whenever the fraud is less than 1 crore, we have informed to BOD. BOD has to write about it in their BOD report. Kab likhna hai? When the fraud is less than 1 crore. If fraud is 1 crore or more, they don't have to write in BOD report. If fraud is less than 1 crore, we inform to BOD. BOD will write about it in their BOD report together with the remedial actions taken. And this provision applies mutatis mutandis to the company secretary doing a secretarial audit and the cost accountant doing a cost audit. Unko bhi this is applicable. And if this is not followed by the auditor, the penalty is minimum 1 lakh to maximum 25 lakh rupees. Acha, now someone asked me that, sir, if I report this frauds to central government, isn't it like disclosing confidential information of client? So section 143 subsection 12 safeguards you. So whenever you're reporting this fraud in good faith to central government, you are not violating confidentiality provision. This is required by law. It will be fine. Clear with this? This was section 143. Uske andar, now going to Caro. So remember section 143.11. 143.11 mein they said CG has a power to order additional reporting. Based on that, one order is there, Caro 2020. Water break, then we start. 1 minute. Okay. Let's begin. After this chapter, half an hour break will be there. Don't worry. Okay. So, Caro 2020. So, Caro is applicable to whom? Caro applies to all the companies, including foreign companies. Caro applies to all companies, including foreign companies, except banking company, insurance company, section 8 company. OPC, one person company, small company. So OPC, that is one person company, small company, and private limited company fulfilling all the conditions. So if there's a private company fulfilling all the conditions, to them, Caro is not applicable. So which are all the conditions? First one, the paid up capital and reserve surplus. The paid up capital plus your reserve surplus, all reserve surplus, all does not exceed 1 crore as at the balance sheet date, last day dekho. Total borrowing from bank financial institution does not exceed 1 crore at any time during the financial year. And total revenue as per schedule 3, total revenue includes your other income also, does not exceed 10 crores. And this all limits are of current year. This all limits are of current year. ठीक है? तो paid up capital plus reserve surplus does not exceed what? 1 CR at the end. End देखना है. Borrowings from banks financial institution does not exceed 1 CR any time during the year. Total revenue does not exceed how much? 10 crores during the year. Fine. Acha, whether Caro applies to branch audit. Okay, if Caro applies to the company, it also applies to the branch auditor also, because the main auditor has to report on 21 clause for entire company. A branch is audited by someone else, they will inform how 21 matters were at the branches. Acha, Caro is exempted from bank. Bank ko exempted and not NBFC. NBFC Caro is applicable. Acha, first day you are NBFC, but you got converted into bank. If you got converted into bank, last day you are a bank, Caro not applicable to you. Okay. Now check this question, illustration number 33. Asta Private Limited paid up capital 140 lakh. Acha, paid up capital 140 lakh, more than 1 CR, Caro applicable. Acha, so para 1 talked about the applicability. Para 2 says if Caro is applicable, report on the matters given in para 3 and 4. Agar Caro applicable hai, report on matters given in para 3 and 4. But 21 matters are there. Out of 21 matters, for reporting on CFS, auditors report on CFS, only clause 21 is applicable. The order shall not apply to auditors report on CFS except the last clause. Okay, so can I say this is Caro is extra reporting to be done by auditor? It's not for management, it's for auditor. And when you are reporting on standalone financials, all 21 points applicable. When you are reporting on consolidated financial, can I say only the last one, 21st point is applicable? Perfect. Let's go to the matters. 21 matters, which are they? First one, fixed asset. First one, fixed asset. There are 5 points given over here. 1. Whether the company is maintaining proper records, showing full particulars, quantitative details, situation of PP. Same way, whether the company is maintaining proper records, showing full particulars of intangible. Intangible mein I cannot have quantity, I cannot count. Situation, pata hi nahi hai yaar, it's intangible. That's why the word quantitative detail situation is not written in intangible. Second, whether they have been physically verified by management at reasonable interval and material discrepancies have been properly accounted. So, physically verified. Third, this is important, title deeds. Whether the title deeds of immovable property are held in the name of company. If not, I have to give the details in following format. Which is the format? Description of property, uska carrying amount, kiske naam pe hai? Held in the name of, whether is a promoter, director, relative or employee, and period, since how much it is held and why it is not held in the name of company. Sir, do I need to remember the format? Yes. Yes. So if question comes, title deeds are not there in name of company, what are the reporting requirements of auditor? Write this C point only. Sirf C point likhna hai. D point, whether the company is revalued. Whether the company has revalued the PP or intangible during the year, and if the change is 10% or more, so I have to specify the amount of change. If the change is 10% or more. So first, whether the revaluation is based on report of registered value or one thing. Revaluation report hai, registered value. And if change is 10% or more of net book value, specify the change also. Amount of change you reported over here. And last, whether any proceeding has been initiated or pending against company for holding any benami property. Uske related some proceedings are there, we have to report over here. Achha, inventory mein 2 points according to me, this is important. 1. Physical verification of inventory is done by management at reasonable interval, and whether the procedures according to you are appropriate. So see, physical verification done by management, reasonable interval. Wo report karna hai. Second, I also have to report whether the procedures followed for physical verification are appropriate, and discrepancy 10% or more, whether they have been properly dealt with. Whether they have been properly dealt with. Here the word is 10% or more. In fixed asset, 10% or more word was not there. Discrepancy. And the second one is important. Second one is important. If you have taken a working capital loans, if you have taken a working capital loan exceeding 5 crores, working capital limits exceeding 5 crores are there, pay attention. So can I say you will be giving the figures of stock debtors to the bank on regular basis. So whatever figures of stock debtors you give it to bank on quarterly basis, the company, whether they are matching with the books of accounts, we are required to report. If not, those reconciliations etc. are to be given. So whether at any point of time the company has been sanctioned a working capital in exceeding 5 crores from bank, financial institution on the security of current asset. So whether the quarterly returns filed with such bank are in agreement with book. If not, give the details of whatever is basically not matching. ठीक है. Third one, intercorporate loans, investment guarantee security. This is okay. Now, intercorporate loans, investment guarantee security. Have you done this? Any intercorporate loans or investments or guarantee for some other company? If yes, the aggregate amount, closing balance, and basically how much is aggregate amount and the closing balance to subsidiary associate JV other than subsidiary associate JV. The aggregate amount though and the closing balance though, but kisko? To. So such intercorporate loans, investment guarantee to the subsidiary associate JV other than subsidiary associate JV. Then whether the terms are not prejudicial to the interest of company. Third, you have given loan, right? Intercorporate loans, you have given. So whether repayment schedule is stipulated and the repayments are coming on timely basis. Fourth, if the amount is overdue for more than 90 days, the steps taken for recovery are reasonable or not, we have to report that. And now, whether you're given any loan, for what purpose? For renewing or extending the earlier loan. The earlier loan can be repaid. For that, I give a new loan. If such a thing is there, that is to be disclosed, reported. Whether a company has advanced any loan which has fallen due and has been renewed or extended by granting a fresh loan to settling the existing due, I'm giving you a new loan, uska details are to be reported. Plus, if we have given loans which are repayable on demand. If company has given loan which are repayable on demand or without specifying the terms are not specified, that also is to be disclosed over here. So this was point number 3. Point number 4 is again intercorporate loans investment guarantee security, but यहाँ पे when I go for intercorporate loans investment guarantee, section 185, 186 of Companies Act are complied or not. So what is covered under 185, 186 you learn in law. That's not required here. Public deposits, whether the section 73 to 76 have been complied or not, whether the directions issued by RBI are complied or not, and any basically specific order is passed against your company. If any order is passed by CLB, NCLT, RBI against your company, whether that has been complied or not. The 3 things: RBI directions, second was section 73 to 76, and any specific order. Costing records, now see, costing records are not applicable to everyone. If your class of company is covered under section 148 subsection 1, who are required to maintain costing records. So if your class of company is covered under that, whether such costing records are made and maintained. The question, whether auditor has to check costing records in detail? No. But do I have to prima facie look? Yeah, I have to prima facie look into it because I have to report whether they are made and maintained. Acha, the company is telling we already have a separate cost auditor, sir, you don't look into costing records. Answer is no, I have to report whether they are made and maintained. Plus, I have a right to access books of accounts and vouchers. Books of accounts also includes costing records. So if they stop me, it's not valid. Perfect. 7th one is statutory dues. Now, statutory dues may 2 things: undisputed, disputed. For undisputed, we have to report whether the company is regular in depositing undisputed statutory dues with government authority, and undisputed statutory due which is outstanding on the last day for a period exceeding 6 months, we have to specifically report the amount. I repeat, it should be outstanding on last day and for a period exceeding 6 months. Okay, for the disputed ones, the amount has not been deposited on account of dispute. So I am required to tell the forum and the amount not deposited, and forum where the case is pending is to be mentioned. Next one, 8th, transactions not recorded in books. Suppose there was some transaction not recorded in books, but income tax department raid came at your place, and then पोपट की तरह आप बोल गए सब कुछ, सर ये मैंने नहीं दिखाया था. So income tax raid came and now you accepted that income. If you accepted that income, now whether it is properly recorded in books, पहले नहीं था. Now you accepted against income tax department, so now whether they've been properly recorded in books or not. 9th point is important. Default in repayment of loans and borrowings. So whether the company has defaulted in repayment of loans and borrowings, if yes, the period and amount of default as per the format. So again, your format becomes important. So if you are defaulted in repayment of loans and borrowing, the nature of borrowing, name of lender, amount not paid. Acha, whether it's a principal or interest, number of days of delay, and the remarks. So this is to be mentioned. Okay, iske andar whether company is declared as a willful defaulter by a bank or financial institution, whether the term loan is applied for a purpose other than for which it was taken. So imagine I took a term loan, I use it for other purpose. Clause number 9C point, I have to report. Fund raised on short-term basis, used for long-term purpose. Next, whether the company has borrowed money to meet the obligation of subsidiary associate JV. See, वो third point में you had given loans. यहाँ पे it is you have taken loans. You have taken loan to meet obligation of subsidiary associate JV. And last one, you have taken loan for what purpose? On the pledge of shares of subsidiary associate JV. The earlier one was to meet obligation of them, and last one is on the pledge of the shares of subsidiary associate JV. You took loan pledging that shares. That is to be reported over here. Okay, 10th one, utilization of issue proceeds and preferential allotment. If you come out with the IPO, FPO, whether the money is used for the purpose for which it is taken. Same way, if you come out with a preferential allotment, whether the money is used for the purpose for which it's taken. Now see, term loan not used for the purpose, clause 9. IPO, FPO, preferential allotment money not used for the purpose taken, clause number 10. Okay, clause 11, important, fraud. Pay attention. Now see, section 143.12 was also fraud. 143.12 we report only the frauds which are, कौन से fraud report करते थे? Only the frauds which are against the company. यहाँ पे we report fraud by the company or against the company, both. By the company or the frauds which are against the company, on the company, both are there. 143.12 is only against the company by officer or employees. यहाँ पे by the company, on the company, whatever frauds have been noticed or reported, they are to be reported. Nature and the amount involved. Nature and the amount involved. ठीक है? Whether the report under section 143.12 has been filed and whether the auditor has considered the whistleblower complaint. Someone had a whistleblower complaint against the company, whether that has been considered or not. 12th one, Nidhi company net own fund to deposit liability ratio should not exceed 1:20. Okay, whatever public deposits they have taken, 10% they have to keep it in unencumbered term deposits. And third one, whether they have defaulted in payment of interest or repayment of the deposits which are taken from public. Related party transactions, section 177, 188 are complied. 177 is audit committee, 188 is approval for related party transaction. They are complied, and plus unka disclosure in financial is done properly. Next, 14th one is internal audit. Okay, so whether a company has internal audit system commensurate with the size and nature of the company, and whether the report of internal auditors are considered by you. Now question, whether all companies need internal audit? Whether all companies need internal audit? No sir, section 138. Yes, section 138 is there. If section 138 may limits are given, if that crosses, then internal audit is required. Fine. 15th is non-cash transaction with director. Generally, we cannot enter into a non-cash transaction with director unless it is for acquisition of asset. Imagine I acquired a land from director and gave them the shares. Acquired a land, gave shares, wo chalega. Otherwise, you are not allowed as per section 192. Registration with RBI. See, all companies don't need registration with RBI, but your NBFCs. Your NBFCs will be needing a registration with RBI, and see, CARO applies to NBFC. So whether a company is required to be registered under section 45 IA of RBI Act 1934, that is to be reported. Second, whether the company has commenced any NBFC business without holding a certificate of registration. If it's a core investment company, what does core investment company do? They invest only in one group. Yad aaya? 90% of their investments are only in one group, say Adani. So Adani Port, Adani Power, Adani Wilmar, Adani Ye, Adani Wo. So we are just investing in one group. So if you are a core investment company, so are you falling in the definition of core investment company? And see, core investment company having a asset size less than 100 crores, they are exempted from registration. So do they still fulfill that exemption or not? And if the group has more than one CIC, indicate the number of CICs which are a part of group. That's okay, not relevant. Okay, cash losses did you had in current year and the preceding years, you are required to report that cash losses. Okay, resignation of auditor. If the earlier auditor had resigned and now you came in, did you consider their objections and concerns why they went out? वो आपको consider करना, and now you need to report. 19th one is material uncertainty related to going concern. We are required to report that there are no material uncertainties. So check on the basis of ratios, aging schedule, auditor's knowledge of BOD, management plan, whether auditor is of the opinion there are no material uncertainty and the company will be able to meet the liability for at least next 12 months. So 1 year tak they'll be able to meet a liability. We are required to report on this material uncertainty. Now see, we also have essay on it. Remember essay 570 going concern? Essay 570 going concern. So whenever there's a material uncertainty related to going concern, it is adequately disclosed in financial. Yaad karo, material uncertainty related to going concern, adequately disclosed in financial. We give a clean report with extra paragraph drawing attention. Yaad aaya? Fine. And last 20th one is unspent amount of CSR. See, CSR amount 2% of average net profit of last 3 years is to be spent. If at all you not spend, what happens? If there's an ongoing project, If there's an ongoing project, you're required to transfer it to a separate bank account within 30 days and use it within 3 years. But if there is no ongoing project, from the end of the year, within 6 months, you're required to transfer the money to a fund which is established by central government, and then the government will use it for CSR. So over here, if basically it is other than ongoing project, you are transferred to fund within 6 months. If it is ongoing project, then you are transferred to a special bank account within 30 days from the end of year. That is to be reported. And 21st point is actually only for CFS. 21st point is only for CFS. Now pay attention. A CARO report would have been done by the parent's auditor in SFS of parent. CARO report would also have been done by subsidiaries auditor also in their subsidiaries SFS. The SFS of parent has CARO report, SFS of subsidiary has CARO report. When we are coming out with a CFS, if any point is negative, if any point in CARO is negative in SFS audit report of parent or subsidiary, just wo clause ka reference is to be given in the CFS audit report. So wherever any point of CARO auditor's report is negative in the SFS of parent or SFS of subsidiary, that which clause number there was a negative comment, the reference is to be given in CFS audit report. Are you clear? This was CARO. Let us see any questions good over here are there. Okay, now check question number 41. There's a term loan, you have defaulted in term loan. If you remember, there's a default in term loan, I'm required to report what? The period and the amount of default in the format. Wo format becomes important. Fine. Next one, November 19 exam question. What is November 19 exam question? Check. During the financial year ended 31st March 18, LM Limited has borrowed from Nationalized Bank 120 lakhs. Okay, you borrowed 120 lakhs from Nationalized Bank exceeding 1 crore. It's a private company. Borrowing exceeded 1 crore anytime during year, CARO applicable. Correct? Second, what happened is you borrowed for what purpose? You borrowed 100 lakh for new machine and 20 lakh for installation. What did you do? You used 20 lakh. You used 20 lakh rupees. 20 lakh which was there for renovating building. Now it was taken for erection of machine. You use it for building. So can I say term loan applied for purpose other than what it was basically there? Term loan applied for other purpose. It is clause number, CARO clause number 9C point. Fine, CARO clause number 9C point. Okay, come to question 44. This is also a good one. Okay, what are the reporting requirements in the audit report under Companies Act 2013 or CARO? Okay, fraud has been committed against the company. See, by a vendor. See, vendor will always commit fraud in collaboration with your purchase manager. The vendor will always commit fraud in collaboration with your purchase manager. I assume your officer employee is involved. This is a fraud against the company. Report under section 143(12) and CARO both. The fraud has been committed by the company. Company has committed a fraud. Company has committed a fraud. It does not come under 143(12). It comes only under your CARO 2020. Are you clear? Non-cash transaction with your basically director or uska relative. So यहाँ पे your non-cash transaction with Rahul, the son of director, you are as such not allowed. The section prohibits company from entering into arrangement unless it is to acquire the asset for consideration other than cash. Now in this question it is for acquiring the asset. It is for acquiring asset, it is fine. The non-cash transaction which is there for acquiring an asset, it is okay, there is no problem at all, but still it is to be reported under CARO. CARO mein mandatory reporting. It's not only when there are adverse comment. Remember 143 subsection 1. That was 6 matters, report only if there is adverse comment. CARO mein mandatory reporting is there. So you are required to report under CARO clause number 15. Next one, there is some Beneath Minerals Limited. Beneath Minerals Limited, they are basically pumping out some waters and the water they are giving it. Now see, pumping out water is a part of their activity and water they are diverting to nearby villages. But see, that pumping out water was a part of my routine activity. Anything which you do as a part of routine activity will not fit in the definition of CSR. And if it doesn't fit in the definition of CSR, then can I say I have to do the CSR separately? If I have to do the CSR separately and if I have not done, remember clause number 20 mein the auditor is required to report whether it is transferred to a fund or whether it's transferred to a separate bank account. That is basically required, clause 20. Next, rights, powers of C and AG. Rights, powers of C and AG. This is important. This is not important only for this chapter. We have a PSU audit. Usme also this question comes. See, for a government company, can I say for a government company, the auditor is appointed by whom? कौन auditor appoint करता है? C and AG will appoint the auditor. And whenever C and AG is appointing the auditor, they can give you the directions, the manner in which the audit is to be undertaken. Okay, direction दे सकते हैं. So based on that, you need to include in your report the directions given, actions taken, and impact of that on financial statement. Plus, you have to give a copy of your report to C and AG. Once you give a copy of your report to C and AG, within 60 days, they can do a supplementary audit, send someone to do extra checking. They can comment upon or add something to your audit report, and whatever they are commenting or adding something to your audit report, that all comments are also to be circulated to all the people who are entitled to receive the financial statement and your auditor's report. And third, they can send someone to do a test audit. Now see, test audit can be conducted even after 60 days. If you see 60 days ke andar point A and B. For 60 days point A and B, and this is altogether a separate point. Now check question 47, May 19. Check question 47, May 19. On receipt of statutory audit report of a government company, C and AG appointed Mr. Viru to conduct a supplementary audit. TK, the company had its AGM, but directors did not think it is necessary to discuss the supplementary audit report and comments of C and AG. Okay, remember the comments of C and AG are to be circulated to all the people who are entitled to receive the financial statements and the auditor's report. So is the directors right? Answer is no. They are to be sent to every person entitled. Next, what are the sections of companies and steps involved in government company audit? What are the steps involved in government company audit? C and AG will appoint the auditor. After that, they can also give you directions. If they give directions, we need to write in our report, directions given, actions taken, impact of that on financial statement. Plus, we have to give a copy to them. Within 60 days, they can do supplementary audit or comment upon or add something to audit report, and they can also do a test audit. Next one, audit of branch office. If branch is in India, either the company auditor himself or any other person who is a chartered accountant holding COP, that can be appointed as auditor. If the branch is outside India, we can have a person qualified to be appointed as auditor as per that country's law. As per that country's law, that is also fine. TK, now branch auditor. Who will appoint the branch auditor? Nothing is given. He is appointed in the same way. The branch auditor also, first branch auditor, BOD, subsequent branch auditor, shareholder. But the power to appoint branch auditor can be delegated by shareholder to board of director. And whenever the power to appoint the branch auditor is delegated, the BOD shall appoint the branch auditor in consultation with main auditor. I repeat, the BOD shall appoint the branch auditor in consultation with main auditor. Does it mean I have to take a approval of main auditor? Does it mean I have to take approval of main auditor? Consultation doesn't mean consent. Consent नहीं है, consultation है. मुझे उनको consult करना है. I don't need their approval. Even if they say no, can I appoint? Answer is yes. And see, the consultation is required only when BOD are appointing. If it is appointed by the shareholders, the consultation is not required. Fine, duty to sign the audit report. Who will sign? Any partner who is a chartered accountant holding COP, only that partner can sign. And the negative comments of your audit report are to be read out at a general meeting. Only which comments are to be read out? The negative comments are to be read out. Okay, penalty for contravention. If company violates section 139 to 146, company violates 139 to 146, penalty on company minimum 25,000, maximum 5 lakh. Officer in default, minimum penalty is 10,000, maximum is 1 lakh, plus there can be 1 year of imprisonment. Auditor violates 139, 143, 144, 145. तो auditor के ऊपर penalty is minimum 25, maximum 5 lakh or 4 times the remuneration, whichever is less. But if he does it knowingly with the intention to deceive, knowingly किया. If knowingly intention to deceive, penalties are increased. Minimum is not 25, it becomes 50. Maximum is not 5 lakh, it becomes 25 lakh or 8 times the remuneration, whichever is less, plus there can be imprisonment of 1 year. He has to refund the fees and pay for damages anybody suffered because of your wrong reporting. So how much damage, court will decide. TK, and whenever this liability comes, liabilities of the firm as well as partners jointly and severally. And one more thing, if it is an imprisonment, only the partner who has acted fraudulently, that partner only will be liable for imprisonment. Next is cost audit, section 148. Cost audit is audit of costing records. Okay? If your class of company is notified by central government to maintain costing records, then you are required to maintain that costing records, and that costing records will be a part of your books of accounts. Okay, if costing records are maintained, there may be a cost audit. I'm not telling there is always, there may be a cost audit. Limits, I'm coming to it. Okay, if cost audit is there, it will be done by cost accountant, and cost accountant is appointed by board of director. Remuneration is recommended by audit committee, approved by the board of directors. He will follow the cost auditing standard. Qualification, disqualification is the same as company auditor. Replace the word chartered accountant with cost accountant. If there are any negative comment in cost auditor's report, the company, the BOD, has to give information explanation to central government within a period of 30 days. Okay. Now, which companies need a costing record? Which companies need a costing record? If your overall turnover is 35 crores and you fall in the list, there's a regulated sector, non-regulated sector. If you're falling in the list and the overall turnover is 35 crores, you need costing records. Achha, when do you need cost audit? Cost audit kab chahiye? Okay, if you fall in the regulated sector list not relevant for exam. If you fall in the regulated sector, overall turnover 50 crores or more, list product wala turnover 25 crores or more. If you fall in non-regulated, overall turnover 100 crores or more, and the list product turnover is 35 crores or more, then you need cost audit. Acha, now pay attention. If costing records are required, the records are maintained as per the formats given in CRA1. Okay, if cost audit is required, the BOD has to appoint the cost auditor within 180 days from commencement of the year, and they need to file form CRA2 with ROC. The cost auditor will give his report within 180 days from the end of financial year, and that report of cost auditor will be as per CRA3. If there is any negative comment in cost auditor's report, the BOD has to give information explanation to central government within 30 days in CRA4. Now, important is cost audit rules not to apply in certain cases. When is cost audit not applicable? Audit is not applicable, records are still to be maintained. Audit not applicable, records still to be maintained. When your revenue in foreign currency exceeds 75% of your total revenue from exports in foreign currency exceeds 75% of total revenue, or you're operating in SEZ, or you are engaged in generation of electricity which is for captive consumption wala electricity hai, then cost audit not required, records are still to be maintained. Okay, now question, if there's a casual vacancy in cost auditor, who will fulfill? BOD only. Acha, casual vacancy due to resignation, still BOD only. Acha, if you want to remove the cost auditor in between, kar sakte ho. So do I need CG's approval? No. If I want to remove the cost auditor in between, allowed, BOD will appoint the new auditor. You don't need CG's approval over here. If you have a cost auditor resigning, still new auditor will be appointed by BOD only. You shareholders don't come in between, CG doesn't come in between. Clear? Next, books of accounts, section 128 is fine, not relevant from exam purpose. Section 129, financial statement. Okay, so they are telling the financial statement shall, mandatory. It give a true and fair view, it shall comply with accounting standard. The question, whether section 8 companies financial statements shall comply with accounting standard. With the list company, listed product is not required. See, your company might be dealing in two products. One is listed and other is not listed. Listed in the basically where you are required to maintain costing record, वो list product है. So if you are having two product, one might be listed, one might be not listed. Overall is पूरी company's turnover. List product turnover is the product which comes in the list. Okay, so over here, whether the section 8 companies are required to follow auditing standard, the answer is yes. Okay, if section 8 company has net worth 250 crores or more, are they required to follow Ind AS? Answer is yes. The financial statement shall show a true and fair view. It shall comply with accounting standards. Shall be in a form given under Schedule 3. Schedule 3 doesn't apply to banking company, insurance company, banking company, insurance company, electricity company, any other class of company which have a format given under their own act. As of today, electricity company does not have a format given under the own act. Electricity company follows Schedule 3. If you're having one or more subsidiaries or associate, you have to mandatorily prepare a CFS, plus you're also required to file a statement called as AOC1. You're also required to file a statement which contains the salient features about the financial statement of subsidiaries and associates. Fine. This is not much relevant from exam purpose. See, exam purpose 113, basically your 139 to 148 audit wale provisions are more important. Okay, this is important. Section 130. Section 130, reopening of accounts on court or tribunal's order. Reopening of accounts. Kiske order pe? Court or tribunal. The company shall not reopen the books or not recast its financial statement. You should not reopen the books. Don't change your financial statement unless application is made by the CG or Income Tax Department or SEBI or statutory body, and so someone made a complaint and the court or tribunal has made an order to the effect that earlier accounts were prepared in a fraudulent manner or the affairs were mismanaged, casting a doubt on reliability of financials. So someone made a complaint and court or tribunal ordered that you reopen your books, you change financials, then you can do it. But a court can order it only for a period maximum how many years? 8 years, because books are to be kept for 8 years. But if books were required to be kept for more than 8 years, CG ka order tha, then they can order it for more than 8 years also. Acha, this question, pay attention, this question. This was July 21 exam question. Basically, there is a forensic audit, whether you've done a fraud or not. तो उसके related था, and forensic audit confirmed there's a diversion of fund, and court told you to recast the financial. Company says that they cannot order for more than 3 years. Remember, if court is ordering, they can order it for how many years? 8 years tak. But if you're doing voluntary revision, if your financial statements are not as per section 129 or BOD report is not as per section 134, if you're doing a voluntary revision is allowed after taking approval of tribunal. Tribunal ka approval lo, uske baad voluntary revision allowed, and that is allowed only for 3 years. So voluntary is for 3 years, court or tribunal ordering is for 8 years. Next one, NAFRA section 132. 2 points important over here. 1. NAFRA ka role. What is the role of NAFRA? There are 4 points given, actually 3 only. Fourth one is any other function related to first 3. So first, they can make recommendation to CG on formulation, laying down of accounting, auditing standards. They will recommend to CG kahan pe auditing, accounting standards are required. Second, they will monitor and enforce the compliance with accounting and auditing standard. They will monitor and enforce the compliance. And third, they will oversee the quality of services of professionals. Who are professionals? The CAs associated with ensuring compliance with that standard. So this 3, and fourth is any other function related to ABC. So this one is important. And second, NAFRA rules applies to whom? The following classes of companies and body corporates to whom the NAFRA rules apply. This is important. 1. It's applicable to all listed companies, whether in India or outside. If you're listed in India or if you're listed outside India, like Make My Trip. Make My Trip is not listed in India, but Make My Trip is listed abroad. Uske ADRs are listed. American Depository Receipts. Okay, next one, we have unlisted public company, paid up capital 500 crores or more, annual turnover 1000 crores or more, outstanding loans, debentures, deposit 500 crores or more during preceding year. Third, insurance company, banking company, company engaged in production of electricity or company governed under any specific act. Fourth, any body corporate, a reference to NAFRA is made by CG. Okay, so any body corporate, company, person, jiska reference is made by CG. Wo covered. And last one. Okay, if any of these 4 are there, uska subsidiary or associate is abroad, which is a material one. Out of this 4, ye 4 ka subsidiary associate abroad, which is a material one, that's covered. When do I say it's a material subsidiary or associate? It has 20% or more of total income or total net worth of the consolidated income or consolidated net worth. Okay. Now, if it's a company, the auditor appointed ADT1 was filed. Okay, ADT 1 was filed. But if NAFRA rules apply and it is other than company, if NAFRA rules applies other than company, it is there. So every body corporate within 15 days of appointment of auditor, they need to inform to NAFRA under NAFRA 1. Company tha already ho gaya. Other than company, anyone covered under NAFRA rules, when they appoint auditor, they have to tell to NAFRA. And every auditor has to file with NAFRA a form called as NAFRA 2 by 30th of November every year. Every auditor has to file. The company is covered in NAFRA. If you are an auditor of them, you need to file NAFRA 2. Clear with this? Now, can NAFRA take actions against auditor? Answer is yes. So where a professional or other misconduct is proved, NAFRA ka powers. What are the NAFRA's powers? Imposing penalty. Minimum is 1 lakh. Extend up to 5 times of fees for individual. Minimum 5 lakh, extend up to 10 times the fees for firm. And they can debar the member. They can debar the member for how much time? For minimum 6 months up to 10 years. Whatever they want, they can do it. Okay, NAFRA rules in detail is not required. Now, signing of financial statements. Next, signing of financial statement. 10 minutes more, this chapter will be over. 10-15 minutes more. Hota yaar. 10 minutes is fine, no? Okay, signing of financial statement on behalf of company who will be signing. On behalf of board of directors who is signing, the chairperson or 2 directors, one of them shall be managing director. Chairman or 2 directors, one of them shall be managing director, and your CEO, CFO, company secretary of the company has to mandatorily sign it. So this is how it is signed. The financial statement as well as same way as the board of directors report also. Now BOD report shall be attached to financials. Whenever you are presenting the financials to shareholders at AGM, the BOD report should be attached. Attached means it's not a part of financials, just present it together. So whether auditor has to report on BOD report, answer is no. It is not annexed, it is attached. Sir, content of BOD report is not relevant for us because we are auditor. We don't have to do anything with BOD report. We don't audit it. We just have to read the BOD report for material inconsistency. Yaad hai SA 720? So it's not relevant for us. One of the content is director's responsibility statement, but that is also not relevant from exam angle. Inter mein this was important. Now, next is section 138, which is internal audit, important. Okay, whether internal audit is mandatory for all the companies, answer is no. Few companies are required to have internal audit. Which are the companies? 1, listed company, internal audit mandatory. Okay, unlisted public company, paid up capital 50 crores or more, turnover 200 crores or more, loans from banks, financial institution is 100 crores or more, and outstanding public deposits 25 crores or more. This all limits are of last year. If these limits are exceeded, any of it, then this year internal audit has to be there. And if it's a private company, they cannot have a public deposit, that point is omitted, and paid up capital ka point is omitted. So turnover 200 crores or more and outstanding loans borrowing from bank, financial institution 100 crores or more, and our last 2 mates any time during the year. Okay. And I have to see limits of which time? Last year ke limit. So then they need an internal audit. But I tell you, they got a provision of internal audit, but it's just a namesake. Why it's a namesake? For big companies, they brought internal audit. But now who can be internal auditor? A chartered accountant, cost accountant, or any other professional as is decided by the board of directors. Okay, can he be an employee of the company also? Answer is yes. So can internal auditor be the employee of company? Answer is yes. Now sir, what he will do? The scope, the functioning, the periodicity, the methodology, all will be decided internally. The internal auditor in consultation with audit committee or board of director will decide all these things internally. So the thing is, you have an internal audit for big companies, but what they will do, how they will do, nothing is clarified. Okay, there's this question over here, last 3 years ka turnover, we don't need last 3, we just need the last year, and the turnover is 200 crores or more, exact 200 is 200 or more, internal audit is applicable. Last point of this chapter is dividend. In dividend, only one thing important. I directly go to that one thing which is important, that is, how do you verify the dividend? How do you verify dividend? And now there's one small amendment which I'm covering. Remember, dividend is to be paid off within 30 days. Once dividend declared, it has to be paid off within 30 days. If you're not able to pay within 30 days, Okay, if due to shareholder's fault, shareholder ka fault tha, we are not able to pay him, we have to transfer it to a separate bank account within 7 days. Unpaid dividend account of ABC Limited. You keep it in that account for a period of 7 years, and after 7 years, you transfer it to IPF. Acha, can a shareholder claim his dividend from IPF? Can a shareholder claim his unpaid dividend from IPF? Answer is yes, he can claim it. Acha, if company has to transfer it to a separate bank account within 7 days after 30 days are over, if company transfers late, company has to transfer it with 12% interest per annum. And whose dividend is unpaid, they transferred it to unpaid dividend account, company has to upload a list within 90 days of transferring it to unpaid dividend account on its website. The website pe they'll upload a list of shareholders whose dividend they've transferred to unpaid dividend account. Fine, now this penalty is newly added. This penalty is newly added. They have to transfer to IPF, etc. So if at all they don't do that on a timely basis, penalty on company is 1 lakh. Continuing failure is 500 per day, maximum 10 lakh. Officer in default, penalty 25,000. Further penalty 100 per day, maximum up to 2 lakh rupees. This is newly added. That's it. Okay, next we have this one. How do we verify the dividend? This is important. See, as an auditor, we are always concerned with verification, checking. So first you have to check whether it's declared as per the profit as per section 123. Second, depreciation, it should be provided. Dividend should always be out of the profits after depreciation. The depreciation is as per schedule 2. Board resolution recommending dividend. Shareholder has approved it. Shareholder ka approval cannot be more than the one which was recommended. If recommended is 20%, shareholder can reduce it, cannot increase it. The register of member was closed as per the requirement of section 91. Dividends are paid within 30 days. Okay, they are transferred in a separate bank account within 5 days of declaration. 5 days of declaration, you transfer to separate bank account. If you could not pay in 30 days of declaration, you transfer to another separate bank account, which is unpaid dividend account. If it's a listed company, they have to intimate to stock exchange whenever they declare dividend. And whether there are any complaints regarding non-payment or delay, that you check. Accounting is done properly or not. Accounting for dividend only when declared. When it's recommended, no entry. It's only out of free reserves. If at all you don't have adequate profit, we can declare dividend out of past profit lying in reserve, subject to 3 conditions. Yaad hai? Procedure followed for payment of unclaimed dividend is proper or not, and if it was unclaimed, they transfer it to a separate bank account within 7 days, and after that 7 years ke baad IPF mein they were transferred. And dividends, if they are declared after the balance sheet date, entry is not done. If they are declared after the balance sheet date, they will be accounted in next year only. Now check over here. Company doesn't have cash. Company doesn't have cash. They want to give a stable dividend. What they do is this time they're telling, we don't give full depreciation. We don't give full depreciation. We give 25% depreciation or 75% depreciation. Remaining depreciation we'll give it next year. That's not allowed. That will be wrong. And check this question. There's a large size company. This year they're given a huge dividend. Advise the procedure for verification of dividend. Concept of true and fair is not relevant from exam purpose. That's okay. And now come to basics of LLP audit. Basics of LLP audit. Now, when is audit mandatory for LLP? There's LLP Act 2008. They say if the turnover is exceeding 40 lakh and word is written, and the capital contribution by partner exceeds 25 lakh. So turnover should exceed 40 lakh and the capital contribution by partner is 25 lakh. Then you have basically this LLP audit applicable. TK, LLPs are required to file an annual return form number 11 with ROC 60 days from end of year. That is basically 31st March is 60 days is 30th of May. And they have to file a statement of account and solvency in form number 8. Kab dena hai? Year over, uske 6 months over, then 30 days. So it is by 30th of October it will be there. Fine, appointment of auditor, who will do it? Designated partner. If designated partner doesn't do it, then other partners will do it. First auditor to be appointed before the end of first financial year. Subsequent auditor at least 30 days before the end of financial year. Okay. Now, if you are appointed as an auditor of LLP, see, LLP Act doesn't tell you what to report. तो उसके लिए what you should do, if you are appointed as auditor of LLP, what are your duties? The auditor's duty, get a definite instruction in writing from the partners what you need to do. You need to report accounts are showing a true and fair view, whether you obtain all information explanation necessary for the purpose of audit, and are there any restrictions imposed. Plus, you need to read the LLP agreement, note down the important points, PSR, capital contribution, interest on capital, loan ka interest, etc., etc. And last, if partners are maintaining minutes book, try to see for any resolution. Try to see for resolution relating to books of accounts. Okay, this was your company audit. I'll just finish in 5 minutes, schedule 3. I'll just finish in 5 minutes, schedule 3. Open up your schedule 3. Okay, Pratik has a question, sir, whether that capital contribution includes reserve. Dear, in case of LLPs, what will happen? The profits are added to partners only. So generally, we don't have any reserves. Reserves are only in case of companies. So that reserve belongs to partner only. That's a part of their capital contribution. Okay, now division 2. Division 1 is not relevant from exam angle. I'm ignoring division 1. Come to directly division 2. Okay, division 2 may, if there's a conflict between your Ind AS and schedule 3, Ind AS prevails except Ind AS 1 allows you to have a balance sheet in order of liquidity. Schedule 3 says no, you can't have it. So all places Ind AS prevails except for the option of presenting balance sheet in order of liquidity. So is it mandatory to round off the figures? Answer is yes. Can I give full figures? No. Rounding off is mandatory. How to round off? If your total income is less than 100 crores, round off to nearest 100,000, lakhs, millions. If your total income is 100 crores or more, then lakhs, millions or crores. The rounding off is mandatory. Okay, now coming to your formats, balance sheet, P&L, all things are fine. Important is statement of changes in equity. They can ask you, give a format of statement of changes in equity. In this, there are two things. One is equity share capital, balance at beginning. If there's some restatement done due to rectification of error, then we have a restated opening, then changes and the closing. And then there will be other equity. Other equity mein what do we have? If I just go for the headings, first of all, horizontally, the first application money pending allotment, which is not to be refunded, that comes here. Equity component of compound financial instrument, your reserves, and OCI items, all your OCI items. Okay, then if I go vertically, opening, any rectification due to errors, restated opening. Current year, whatever happened, dividend declared, deduct from retained earning. If, say for example, item which was in OCI is sold off, now it become realized, it may go directly to retained earning, to transfer to retained earnings or something, and closing. This you already done in FR. I'll just go to important one for audit purpose. For audit purpose, the important are the additional information which is now there. Come to here, page number A53. Come to page A53. Additional regulatory information. This is important from auditing angle. Disclosures. If title deeds of immovable property are not held in the name of company, company has to disclose it in the notes, this thing. This is not for auditor. Schedule 3 is for company. Caro was for the auditor. Title deeds not in the name of company. Auditor also has to report in Caro clause number 1 C point. Yaad aaya? Caro clause number 1 C point fixed asset. So this is for company. Okay, then if they are fair valued, see fair valuation of investment property ka fair valuation is mandatory, not for recording. They are always carried as per cost model, but disclosure of the fair value is mandatory. Is it as per the registered valuer? If they revalued the PPE, so whether the revaluation is as per the registered valuer. If they revalued intangible, the revaluation is as per the registered valuer, that's fine. Okay, if they have given loans and advances to director, KMP, promoters, related party, loans advances to related parties are there, which are repayable on demand or without specifying terms, uska details are to be disclosed. Okay, for CWIP, two things. One is called as a aging schedule. Second one is a completion schedule. Completion schedule is to be given only when it's overdue or so overdue ho gaya ya cost has exceeded the limit. So completion schedule as well as aging schedule, two things. Same way for intangible under development. Next one, this is important. So point 1 was important. Title deeds, then Benami property. If A proceeding has been initiated or pending against the company for holding any Benami property under the Benami Transaction Prohibition Act. So company has to disclose the detail of property, amount, detail of beneficiary. If property is in the book, which is that item? If property is not in the book, why it's not there in the book? And the proceedings basically are as a abater of transaction or a transferor. And last, the nature of proceedings which are going on, the details are to be given. Okay, this one, if you have borrowed money from bank, financial institution on security of a current asset ka security tha, you will be required to give quarterly statements of your figure of inventory, debtors, etc. So whether they are matching with the books, if not, uska reconciliation. Remember, risk related auditor has to report also. Caro, clause 2, inventory, point number B. This is for a company, Caro is for auditor. Whether company is declared as a willful defaulter, uske related, struck off company is fine. Achha, satisfaction is fine. Some ratios are also to be disclosed in notes. This is all fine. Chalo. Now, one more thing. In your P&L, there are some extra changes. P&L, there are changes. If you see in P&L, undisclosed income, transaction not recorded in books, but income tax department ka raid or something came, you accepted it, whether now they have been properly recorded or not. So whether they have been now recorded, that management will write in notes to accounts. Remember, iske upar auditor also had to report. Remember, iske upar the auditor also had to report. Clause number 8. Correct? Okay, CSR related some disclosure, amount required to be spent. You actually spend. What is the shortfall? Total of previous year shortfall, reason for shortfall, nature of activity. And whether for CSR, did you do any related party transaction? Reliance donates to Reliance Foundation. That type of thing. And last one, details about cryptocurrency. What is the profit or loss on crypto transactions? Currencies which you are holding at the last date, and whether you have a deposit. Remember, if I have an account in Wazirex, Wazirex is kind of a portal where I can buy cryptocurrency, so my money lying in Wazirex account. So deposits or advances for trading in cryptocurrency, this are to be disclosed. So this was related to your schedule 3. Now we will take a break, and after the break we are starting with professional ethics. Okay, we are taking a break. We are taking a break of around 30 minutes. I repeat, we are taking a break of around 30 minutes. We are meeting back at 9:15. I repeat, we are meeting back at 9:15 and we'll start with our professional ethics. So this is break till 9:15. Come back at 9:15 and I hope you are enjoying this session. Chalo, see you all at 9:15. Any doubts, etc. there, you can just put it in the chat box. Your company audit and your professional ethics together have a weightage of around 25 to 30 marks. So what we are doing today is 25 to 30 marks. Tomorrow we'll cover up remaining 70 to 75 marks. And tomorrow we are starting from morning 8 a.m. to evening 7 o'clock. We'll start with auditing standards first. So target is from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. is auditing standards. And from 2 p.m. onwards, 2 to 7 will be the remaining chapters which will be there. In the remaining chapters, we'll just go for the important ones which are there relevant for the exam point of view. Now, there's a question from Arjun that, sir, would you be doing the MCQ booklet? Dear answer is no. See, MCQs ka revision nahi hota hai. There cannot be a revision of MCQs. MCQs are always from the things which we have done in class. So from this theories only the MCQs are there. So MCQ revision will not be done. In case you want to revise MCQ on your own, whatever MCQs you have marked as important, go through it. Rahul has a question that, sir, can you share PDF of this? Rahul, if you are there on our Telegram channel, wherever you find a link of material, click on the link. If you are not there on Telegram channel of mine, just search on Telegram CA Niket Thaker. You go to CA Niket Thaker Telegram channel, you find any of the message where link of material is given, click on that link for material. In that, go to auditing subject, the complete course, the latest batch, this is the material. Okay, let's move on with chapter number 18, professional ethics. Keep your books open. Keep your books open. Am I audible, visible properly? Now, starting with the word introduction. Introduction as such is not relevant from exam point of view. They're telling ethics is important in all the types of field, but are more important in our field. And we have a motto of ICI which says, Ya Esha Shupteshu Jagrati, which is adopted from Kathom Upanishads. So, Ya Esho Supteshu Jagrati means we are awake when others are sleeping. So people can sleep without tension. We are awake. We'll ensure that the financials which are given to you, they are showing a true and fair view. Now, there's a revised code of ethics coming. It's not yet came. It is coming. The overview of the code of ethics, which is the revised one which is coming. They've just given us the overview. What's the overview of the revised code of ethics? Part 1. Part 1 talks about complying with the code of ethics, some fundamental principles and the conceptual framework. See, there are fundamental principles in auditing. There are 5 fundamental principles. I'll come to it. So part 1 of the revised code of ethics talks about you should comply with the code, you should comply with fundamental principle, conceptual framework, all that things. Part 2 is for those who are in service. Part 3 is for those who are in practice. Part 2 is for those who are in service. Part 3 for those who are in practice. Part 4 is independence related standards. In that 4A and 4B, 4A is when you are doing an audit. When you are doing an audit or a review, uske related independent standards. And 4B is when you are doing other than audit or review. When you are doing an assurance engagement but other than audit or review. Remember prospective financial information. You are called upon to report on prospective figures. It's an assurance engagement but other than audit or review. That's 4B, again this independent standards. Glossary is nothing but the terms which are there, whichever terms are used in basically the code of ethics, the definition of the terms which are there. Now the code is divided into sections. Many sections have some subsections also, and in these sections the topics are covered, and the code covers 1. The introduction, the requirement of the section and the application material. Now there's a question. If there's a conflict between laws and regulation and the code of ethics, if there's a conflict between laws and regulation, code of ethics, laws and regulations prevail. Okay, so there were 4 parts given under your revised code of ethics. Part 1 is telling about complying with code. Then they also talk about fundamental principles, conceptual framework. Part 2 is for those who are in service. Part 3 for those who are in practice. Part 4 is independent standard. 4A, audit and review. 4B, other than audit or review. And then there's some glossary. Fine. Now coming to the word fundamental principles, 5 fundamental principles of auditing. You're done in intermediate also. Which are the 5 fundamental principles of auditing? Number 1 is your integrity. Number 1 is your integrity. Am I audible, visible properly, please? Okay, integrity. The professional accountant should be straightforward and honest. Integrity is you're straightforward, honest in all your professional and business conduct. Okay. Second, objectivity. Objectivity means you should not allow any bias, conflict of interest, undue influence to override your professional judgment. You are unbiased. You're not allowing anyone else to override your judgment. Professional competence and due care. How do I maintain my professional competence? So you are required to maintain your professional knowledge based on current developments, and you need to apply the technical and professional standards while providing services. So you should not only be professional competent, you should have a due care. You should apply all these things whenever you're doing audit. Fourth, confidentiality. You should respect the confidentiality of client's information. Don't disclose it to anyone unless it is required by law or you have a consent of the client. So unless there is a legal or a professional duty or it is with the basically consent of the client. And I should not be using the confidential information for my advantage also. I repeat, you should not use it for your advantage also. You should not be sharing it to others also. And last, professional behavior. Professional behavior means the auditor has to comply with the relevant laws and regulation, and you should avoid any action that brings disrepute to the profession. You avoid any action which brings disrepute to the profession. The 5 fundamental principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. They're given in detail, but as such not relevant from exam point of view. So they're given in detail also, not relevant from exam point of view, just taking the word confidentiality. In detail mein the confidentiality, the accountant shall be alert to possibility of inadvertent disclosure. Inadvertent means by mistake also. By mistake also, don't disclose confidential information to someone. You should maintain the confidentiality of information within the firm. You should not disclose the confidential information acquired as a result of your professional employment outside the firm. You should not use, now see there's a difference between disclosing the confidential information, using the confidential information. I'm not disclosing to anyone, but I'm using it for my personal advantage. No. That is also not allowed. And not disclose or used any confidential information which is acquired or received after the relationship has ended. Okay, even after the client relationship has ended, then also you should not use the confidential information which you acquired earlier. You should not disclose also, you should not use also. So यहाँ पे is D and E. D and E is you should not disclose, you should not use while you are there as auditor. And F point is you should not disclose, you should not use even after the audit is gone. Even after the audit is gone. I think you understood. Okay. When you can disclose, when disclosure is required by the law. Second, disclosure permitted by law and authorized by client. Required by law to karo. Permitted by law, you do only when it is authorized by client. Only if it is authorized by client. Okay. Next is basically your threats and safeguard. This is important. Threats and safeguard is important. So in your fundamental principle, the headings 5 and 1-liners were important. Detailed question on fundamental principle is very difficult. But threats, see, I want to follow fundamental principles. I want to remain unbiased. I want to remain objective. I want to follow everything. But there are circumstances coming up which doesn't allow me. There are circumstances coming up which doesn't allow me to follow that fundamental principles. That circumstances coming up are called threats. Threats. And we eliminate those threats. So uske liye there are safeguards taken. Now see, some safeguards are given in law so that the threats don't come up or threats are eliminated. And some safeguards we implement on ourselves. Now pay attention. See, threats is basically, like imagine a relative is a director in a company. If a relative is a director, he has done something wrong, would you be reporting that your relative did fraud? You may not be reporting. So वो threat हो गया. Threat हो गया. Familiarity threat. You have a person over there. But now someone asks me that, sir, Companies Act doesn't allow me to be an auditor over there. वो safeguard है. Companies Act doesn't allow you to be auditor. So first we are talking about threats. Then we go to safeguards which are there. So first, which are the threats? There are total five type of threat. First, self-interest threat. When you yourself have a financial or other interest in the client. तो client में आपका खुद का interest है. You yourself is having interest. Like a huge fees coming only from that client. Now, if you feel that you report something bad, the client will go away. Or client is your partner in some other business. Investments में, properties में is your partner, etc. That's self-interest threat. Self-review threat is you have to review your work only. Like you told the client to account in a particular way, and now if you want to say that is wrong, you told the client to account in a particular way, or you designed their financial information system and now you want to say this is wrong. So can I say वो नहीं कर पाओगे because you are reviewing your work only? You won't be able to tell that. Now someone will say, sir, but that is not allowed under Companies Act, and that's a safeguard put under Companies Act. ठीक है. Third, advocacy threat. You spread something. So when a professional accountant promotes a position or opinion and now you want to go against it, you only told all your friends that this company which I'm auditing is really very good. You can buy the shares of the company. And now you want to say this company is a fraud. You told everyone to buy the shares and now you want to say it's a fraud. You might not be able to tell it. Or you told income tax department this company is good and now you want to say this company is a fraud. Now you feel income tax department will come and blast you. So you said something, you promoted something, now you want to go against it. That's advocacy threat. Familiarity threat, when you're near and dear ones, you have a relationship, or you have some interest which is kind of a relative wala thing. So your relative is working as a director or KMP over there. So that kind of is familiarity threat. And last, intimidation threat. Intimidation threat is basically the professional accountant is debarred from acting objectively by threats, actual or perceived. So they are threatening you, blackmailing you. Sir, if you report this, we'll remove you. If you don't do this, we'll take this action against you. So this is basically blackmailing. If they are blackmailing you, that comes under intimidation threat. Threatened with dismissal, threatened with litigation, inappropriately pressurized to reduce the fees. See, they know if you tell to reduce the fees, you will also work less, so you will check less indirectly. So these are all kind of blackmail kind of thing. So 5 types of threat. One is self-interest, self-review, advocacy, familiarity, and last one is intimidation. Threats are fine. Now, for the threats, there will be safeguards. Okay, so now whenever threats are there, can I say we need to evaluate those threats? Now, how to evaluate those threats? You feel you are working independently. Is that okay? No, it's a third party. The reasonable and informed third party, they should feel you're working independently. So check over here, there's a reasonable and informed third party test. There's a reasonable and informed third party test means a neutral third party having a reasonable knowledge about all the things. They feel that you are working properly, you are complying with fundamental principles. Okay, now how do I address the threat? How do I address the threat? 3 options. 1, you eliminate the circumstances creating the threat. You eliminate the circumstances creating a threat. Like for example, your relative is working as a KMP, you tell your relative to leave the company. You tell your relative to leave the company, that's eliminating the circumstances creating a threat. So pura altogether that's eliminated. Second is, you apply some safeguards. You apply some safeguard to bring the threat to acceptable level. The first wale mein you eliminate it completely. Second wale mein you're not able to eliminate, so try to bring it to acceptable level. Now imagine, our article's relative or article's father is a director. If article's father is a director, you can do one thing. If he leaves the company, to chala gaya, threat only. Second option, I don't send that article for that audit. If I don't send that article for that audit, can I say I'm applying safeguards, reducing the risk to acceptable level? A third option is, if I am not able to eliminate the threat or if I am not able to reduce it to acceptable level, I leave the audit. So you decline, don't accept the audit, or you end the audit, means you leave it in between. If you are not accepted, don't accept. If you already accepted, leave it in between. Now sir, what to follow out of 3? Should I eliminate threat altogether, or should I reduce it to acceptable level, or I should leave the audit? Which one to follow? Depends on facts and circumstances. Clear? Addressing threat. And now comes safeguard. This is more important. See, there are 5 points and answer has to be crisp. You are writing only these 5 points. Okay, so whenever you are trying to bring the threat to an acceptable level, you apply the safeguards. The safeguards are some actions taken by you individually or in combination that will reduce the threat to acceptable level. Which are the actions which you can take? The examples of actions that might be safeguard. 5 points, it has to be clearly written. 1, you assign additional time and a qualified person to the required task to address your self-interest threat. Imagine, you might have a self-interest. Do one thing now. Rather than you carrying out that audit, let your other partner carry out that audit. So you have some self-interest, the other partner may not have a self-interest. So you assign additional time and a qualified person. So rather than me checking, I have someone else so that the threat doesn't come up. Second, have an appropriate reviewer. See, self-review is if I only review my work, so let other review my work. So have an appropriate reviewer who was not a member of the team. So this will address your self-review threat. Third, use different partner and different team for assurance and non-assurance work. For assurance work, different partner, different team. For non-assurance work, that's advisory, different partner, different team, so that conflict of interest doesn't come up. Because non-assurance may we work with the management, assurance may we are working kind of independently. So have two separate teams for that. Next, involve another firm to perform or re-perform a part of your engagement. Have some other firm do a part of your engagement, perform or re-perform. This can avoid self-review threat. This can avoid self-interest threat. वो सारे के लिए this is for that. And the last one, you have a separate team when dealing with the highly confidential matter. If you're dealing with a highly confidential matter, try to have a separate team for that. The normal work के लिए अलग team, highly confidential matter, the different team is there. This is again basically to have a self-interest thread being maintained. Are you clear? 5 points are there. First, assigning additional time and a qualified person. Second, have an appropriate reviewer. Third, a separate team for assurance and non-assurance. Fourth, involve another firm to perform or re-perform a part of your engagement. And last one, separate teams for highly confidential matter. Next is no-clear. This is something newly added. Now, what is no-clear? See, we have SA 250. SA 250 is consideration of laws and regulations while you're conducting an audit. But that is only when you're doing an audit, I need to consider the laws and regulation. And SA 250 has divided laws and regulation in two parts, one which have a direct effect on amounts and disclosure in financial, and one which do not have a direct effect on amounts and disclosure in financials. Okay, now pay attention. Now pay attention. So Pratik says, sir, it's removed via RTP November 22. No, dear, it's not removed. No clear is not removed via RTP November 22. No. So it is there as such. Now, it's just that what they are telling over here is, see, whether you are auditor, whether you are providing consultancy, or whether as a CA you work with some company, as an employee, we work with a company. Many people are telling, sir, it's removed. Let me just do it and then we'll check it out whether it's there or not. According to me, it's not removed. I have done RTP November 22, but I did not came across this thing. Agar removed hai to theek hai, chalega, we are just revising for 5 minutes. Okay, so whenever you are doing audit, or whether basically whether you are auditing, or whether you are providing some consultancy, any other service, or whether you are working with the company as an employee, as a CA, if you come across any circumstances where there's a non-compliance of laws and regulation, or a suspected non-compliance, or you feel non-compliance about to happen, so you should be reporting it to the TCWG, the management of the company. So this no clear as such is applicable not just while doing audit, even while giving consultancy, even when you are just an employee of the company, a CA who is an employee, he also has a responsibility for no clear. No clear mein which all type of non-compliances of laws and regulation are covered? So fraud, corruption, bribery, money laundering, security market wala, insider trading, etc., banking frauds, data protection related, environmental, public health and safety, and tax related fraud. This all are covered. Any frauds which are not related to business, some personal frauds are done. Like imagine there was some sexual harassment basically related case on one of the director. The director has done some sexual, that is basically not covered over here. That is a personal misconduct unrelated to business activity. For that, no clear is not there. Acha, now question. Does auditor have to do any extra checking for finding out this non-compliance? No, you just do your routine audit, whatever you're doing as per the essays. I don't have to do anything extra for it. Do I need an expertise of laws? Answer is no. You don't need expertise of law. And wherever disclosure, if law tells you don't disclose it, then you don't disclose it. If law tells you don't disclose it, then you don't have to disclose this thing. Now, what is the difference between a no clear and SA 250? Okay, SA 250 was only when you are doing audit. No clear is while audit, while giving consultancy. Even a CEO is an employee, to them also no clear applies. Second, SA 250 was talking about laws which have a direct effect and laws which do not have a direct effect on amounts and disclosure. No clear takes it one step ahead. No clear is also talking about non-compliances that could have a serious consequences. They talk about that also. SA 250 did not define the word stakeholder. No clear ke andar the stakeholder word is defined. And lastly, in no clear, they've given in exceptional circumstances, when you feel there's an imminent breach which would cause a serious harm. There's an imminent breach which will cause a serious harm. You need to disclose the matter immediately to the appropriate authority. Now, such a thing is not written under your SA 250. If you feel there's an imminent breach which will cause a serious harm to the investors, creditors, employees or general public, that is your stakeholders, investors, creditors, employees, general public, then you should immediately report to the appropriate authority in order to prevent or mitigate such things. Acha, no-clear as of today is only applicable for listed entities. So if you are auditor of listed entity, or you are giving consultancy to listed entity, or you are an employee, a CA who is an employee working in a listed entity, then only the no-clear is applicable. I hope you are clear. This was related to no-clear. Okay, now come to the next one, membership of ICAI. Come to the next one, that's membership of ICAI. Okay, now who can become a member of ICAI? First, you need to clear your CA final exams. You should have completed your 3 years of articleship and then your GMCS, advanced ITT, and then you apply basically to the ICAI for getting yourself registered in the member of ICAI. Okay, whenever you are registered, following details of yours will come in the register. That's okay. Who is not allowed to become a member of ICAI? This is important. So on the day when you're making application, for being a member of ICAI, you should be at least 21 years of age. Okay. So you might have cleared the examination, but if you are not 21 years of age, you cannot be entered in the name of register of members. Person who is of unsound mind. Second, person who is undischarged insolvent. Uske baad, you are discharged insolvent, but you did not got a certificate from the court telling that your insolvency was due to misfortune. See, if I am able to get a certificate from court that my insolvency was due to misfortune, then I can still continue. But if I'm not able to get that certificate, then in that case, I'm not allowed to be a member of ICAI. See, undischarged means your assets are not yet sold and procedures are going on, asset selling, liability payment. Discharge means that all procedure is over. But if you can't get a certificate that your insolvency was due to misfortune, you cannot become a member of ICAI. Okay, if you are convicted by a competent court, whether in India or outside India, of an offense involving moral turpitude, and you are punishable with transportation or imprisonment. Transportation means, wo yaad hai, TR jail, kind of, that's transportation. So that way, and last, if you are found guilty of some professional misconduct. So remember, board of discipline, disciplinary committee, they can remove your name for certain time, or disciplinary committee can remove your name permanently also. That's the thing. Okay, next is types of member. We have two things, associate and fellow. Whenever you become a member of ICAI, you're always an associate member. Okay, upon completion of 5 years. So if you are in continuous practice for 5 years, or you are not in practice but you are a continuous associate member for 5 years, and you have a experience which is similar to a practicing one who is practicing for 5 years, you can apply for being a fellow member. Whenever you are an associate, you write the word ACA. When you become a fellow, you can write the word FCA. Fine. Okay, removal of name, when they remove your name when you are dead, or when a request, I request that please sir remove my name, or who has not paid the requisite fee, or you are found subject to some disqualification. If your name is removed because of some fee ka non-payment, you can get it back upon payment of fee. आपको late pay किया, उसके लिए you need to pay some restoration fee which is there. Sir, amount of restoration fees etc. that's not relevant for our syllabus. Achha, just one more thing. If the restoration fees, you have to pay fees as such by 30th September. If you pay the fees in the same financial year, the name comes back retrospectively. If you pay the fees in the same financial year, the name comes back retrospectively. But if you pay the fees in next financial year, आपने next में pay किया, तो it will come back from the day when you are paying the fees. And if the name was removed because of that professional misconduct, and board of discipline, disciplinary committee had made some judgment, the name will come back based on whatever judgment was there of board of discipline or disciplinary committee. Next one is falsely claiming to be a member. Okay, the person who is not a chartered accountant but claims that he's a chartered accountant, or claims that he's a member of ICAI, or a person who is not holding COP claims that he is in practice, they are liable for penalty. What's the penalty? First conviction, it is 1,000 rupees. Subsequent conviction, it's 5,000 rupees, and there can be imprisonment up to 6 months. Okay, next one is chartered accountant in practice, those who are practicing. This is important, the significance of COP. Now pay attention. Whenever you become a member of ICAI, if you are practicing, can I say you're bound by the rules of ICAI? You have to follow the rules and regulation of ICAI. And they're telling, if you are in practice, you cannot have any other capacity other than working as chartered accountant. Yeah, if you are in practice, you cannot have any other capacity other than working as a chartered accountant. So see, a member who is not in practice is not allowed to perform the work which is normally done by CA in practice. The work which is normally done by CA in practice, a non-practicing one cannot do it, even though for doing that work, he doesn't need any special qualification. Imagine GST returns. GST returns are normally handled by CA in practice. Now, as such, for filing GST return, you don't need to be a CA. But if you are a chartered accountant, then to file GST return, you have to be in practice, because that is a work generally done by CA in practice. Non-practicing CA cannot do it. So if you want to do any work which is generally done by CA in practice, you need to hold a COP. If you are not holding COP, you cannot do such work. Now, suppose your name is removed from membership. Okay, during that suspension period, 6 months suspension, can I file GST return? Can I do accounting for client? As such, for doing that, I don't need to be a CA. Then they say answer is no. Because that is a work which is generally done by CA in practice, and during the period of suspension, you cannot do any work which is generally done by CA in practice. TK? Cancellation of COP is fine. Now see, you have been suspended from practice for 6 months. During the suspension, you practice as an income tax practitioner. Is it allowed? Answer is no. Guilty of professional misconduct. Okay, now members who are deemed to be in practice. Which are the members which are deemed to be in practice? Okay, so they are giving, if you individually or in partnership with someone, in consideration of remuneration received or to be received. Achha, if you do this for free mein kar rahe ho, you are not deemed to be in practice. But you are doing this in consideration of remuneration received or to be received. Okay, so what you are doing, you are engaging in the practice of accountancy. Accountancy means auditing. You are engaging in practice of accountancy, doing auditing, or you offer to perform the services relating to auditing, verification of books of account. The first May, you did auditing. Second May, you offer to perform auditing related work. Third May, you render services relating to accounting. Yahan pe accounting is accounting. You render services relating to accounting, or you render such other services which in the opinion of council are generally rendered by CA in practice. Achha, such other services is management and consultancy services. Such other mein kya aayega? Management consultancy. Now sir, what comes under that management consultancy? A list is given. I'll come to that list. I'll just come to the list. Just a minute. Okay, now a chartered accountant who is working in a CA firm, he can hold a COP for a limited purpose of training articles. Means for a CA working with a CA firm, that CA firm can take one article in the name of employee also. To check, associate or fellow is a salaried of a CA chartered accountant in practice or a firm be deemed to be in practice for a limited purpose of training articles. So in simple words, in the name of employee also, the CA firm can take articles. How many? The limit is given later. Acha, so they said when I'm deemed to be in practice, usme fourth point tha, whenever you're providing any management consultancy services. Now management and consultancy services does not include your audits, representation before department, and acting as liquidator, trustee, executor, administrator, arbitrator. This is not covered under the word. What word? Management and consultant service. But if I am doing this also, still I am deemed to be in practice. Achha, if I professionally act as liquidator, trustee, executor, administrator, arbitrator, receiver, if I professionally work like this, I professionally work as a trustee for a trust, so then also I am deemed to be in practice. ठीक है. Acha, so what is included in the word management consultancy and other services? They've given a list, huge list, 28 categories. 28 categories. Not to be remembered everything, but a few important ones I'm just taking over here. One, this personal recruitment and selection. Okay, so can I do personal recruitment and selection for my client? The client needs employee. I do personal recruitment. I give training to client's employee. Is it allowed? Personal recruitment selection, answer is yes. But if you do that, you are deemed to be in practice. If I'm a non-practicing CA and I do personal recruitment for people, then it is not allowed. Okay. Other important is valuation of shares, business, advice regarding amalgamation, merger, demerger. So that is again you are deemed to be in practice. Okay. System analysis, if I'm doing, again I'm deemed to be in practice. Acting as advisor or consultant to an issue. They want to come out with IPO or some raising money. I act as an advisor. I'm deemed to be in practice. But pay attention. Pay attention. A CA in practice cannot do the activity of broking, underwriting, portfolio management. I repeat, a CA in practice cannot do what? Activity of broking, underwriting, portfolio management. These are businesses. So practicing CA cannot do that. Asha sir, can non-practicing CA do the activity of broking? Non-practicing CA, can he have a broking company? Yeah, he can have. Non-practicing CA, can he become an underwriter? Yes. Yes. So these things are not allowed for those who are in practice. CA, broking, underwriting, portfolio management. Are you clear? Achha, investment counseling. Counseling is investment advisory. If you become an investment advisor, you are deemed to be in practice. If you are deemed to be in practice, you should be holding a COP. Okay. Acting as registrar of a issue or share transfer related thing. If you are handling the share transfers of the company, you are deemed to be in practice. Environmental audit, quality audit, energy audit, fine. Acting as a recovery consultant for a banking sector. Okay, bank ke liye you are a recovery consultant. Recovery consultant allowed, you are deemed to be in practice. Recovery agent you cannot become. You cannot become a recovery agent. Okay. Insurance financial advisory. Okay, so again advising relating to insurance, which insurance to take, etc. That is allowed. But again, you are an insurance advisor, not an insurance agent. You can become an insurance agent for limited purpose of renewal commission, which is covered later. Renewal commission ke liye I can become, but which is covered later. Okay, can I act as insolvency professional? Yes, but if I'm acting as insolvency professional, I'm deemed to be in practice, and this 28th is newly added. 28th is newly added. If you're giving some admin services, if you're giving admin services to your client, okay, what is admin services? It is routine mechanical task of the client which you are handling, like they have to file monthly returns, they have to prepare some reconciliations. If at all you are doing that, some clerical nature work related to client, you are handling admin services, you are deemed to be in practice. Now, pay attention. The admin service include word processing services, statutory forms, preparing statutory forms, submitting such forms, monitoring the statutory filing date, advising an audit client of those dates. Sir, ye date pe you keep track. So that is basically admin work. If you are doing that administrative work, you are helping someone file their returns or advising someone on monitoring the dates of which are applicable to them, that is deemed to be in practice. Now, according to me, this next example is important. If the question comes, functions of GST practitioner. If the question comes, functions of GST practitioner, तो ये admin service वाले हो जाएंगे. तो furnish the details of outward inward supply, furnish monthly, quarterly, annual, final return, make deposit for credit into electronic cash ledger, file claim for refund, make application for amendment, cancellation of registration, generate information for e-way bill, furnishing challan GST related, filing application for amendment related things, okay, intimation to pay tax under composition. So this is work of GST practitioner, and if you do this, If you do this, any of this, you're deemed to be in practice. This all falls under admin services. This all falls under admin services. So there can be a question. Admin services are included whenever basically under your management consultancy services. What are the functions of a GST practitioner? Clear? Okay, next. Over here we have this question number 4, May 19 exam. Check over here. You accepted an assignment as advisor and consultant to public issue. Can I become an advisor and consultant to public issue? Yes, you can become, but you are deemed to be in practice. You're already in practice, not a problem. Besides helping the company as an advisor, you underwrote the public issue. That is not allowed. Underwriting is not allowed. So check over here, you are guilty. They have given clearly activities of broking, underwriting, portfolio management is not allowed. Next one, companies not to engage in accountancy. Accountancy means auditing. The company cannot become an auditor of another company. One company cannot become the auditor of another company. So they are telling clearly, no company shall practice as chartered accountant. And LLP in which company is a partner, that LLP is also not allowed to become auditor. LLP in which company is a partner, that is also not allowed to become a auditor. Fine. Acha, now question, can chartered accountants form company for providing consultancy services? You are not allowed to practice as chartered accountant, means you cannot be auditors. Okay, can you create a company for consultancy services? Answer is yes. Answer is yes, that will come up later. Okay, next one, designation by member. Okay, so every member practicing, non-practicing can use a prefix CA before the word. If you just see, it is written compiled by CA Niket Thaker. So I'm using a prefix CA. Okay, those who are a fellow chartered accountant, they can use FCA after the name. Those who are associate, they may use ACA after the name. Prefix CA, everybody is allowed. Acha, whenever, if you are practicing, you cannot use any designation other than chartered accountant. Chartered accountant is a designation. So other than chartered accountant, you cannot use any designation. Now, sir, I am a chartered accountant, I am a company secretary, I am a lawyer. Can I write all that? Chartered accountant, company secretary, lawyer? No. If you are practicing, you cannot use any other designation. Acha, sir, can I write ACS, associate company secretary? Yeah, you can write down the letters indicating membership of a recognized professional body or a degree recognized by central government or council. For example, if you are BCom, you can write in bracket BCom, MCom, MBA, वो सब लिख सकते हो. So they are degree of recognized by central government or a letters indicating membership, that can be written, but you cannot write chartered accountant and company secretary. अब bracket में ACS लिख सकते हो. You can write in bracket ACS. Fine. You cannot use designation corporate lawyer. You are not permitted to use CPA on your visiting card. If you are a CPA also, you cannot write CPA on your visiting card. Okay. That's fine. Chalo. Now, maintenance of branch office. Now, we might have seen that many chartered accountants have branches. So, suppose imagine a chartered accountant is having a firm in Bangalore. Now, Bangalore he has 3 branches, say in Silk Board, Electronic City, one is in say Malleshwaram, and third one basically say for example Whitefield, 3 corners kind of triangle. So he has kept 3 branches CA firm ki. Now they want that if you have a CA firm ka branches, each branch mein there has to be a CA sitting. So you need to ensure there's a member of ICAI. There's a member of ICAI at every branch which you are creating. Either he's your partner or your employee, it's fine. You can't have just a BCom guy handling your office. No. So if you create a firm, there has to be, if you create a branch, there has to be a member of ICAI handling that branch. ठीक है. Now branch किसको बोलेंगे? What is a branch office? It's a place where the name board is fixed or which is mentioned on your letterhead or other documents. ठीक है. Whenever you are having more than one offices, each one of such office shall be in separate in charge of the member of ICAI. And that member should be actively associated. He should be there at least 182 days over there. Now there are certain exemptions. One is called a hill area exemption. If you are practicing in a hilly area during winters, there's a lot of cold, so you're allowed to have a temporary office for a maximum period of 3 months in the city of Plains. You come down and practice for 3 months. But that's only for maximum 3 months. Acha, the main office need not be shut down. Now, whenever your temporary office is open, that time only the name board should be outside. Whenever temporary office is shut down, you can take back the name board and come. So it's only for 3 months you're allowed to have a temporary office in the city of Plains. Okay? But that temporary office should not be mentioned on your letterhead or anywhere. Second is a second office exemption. Okay, if your second office is within the same city or second office is within same city or within 50 kilometers from the municipal limit of the city in which the first office is located. Within 50 kilometers of the municipal limit of the city in which the first office is located. So means I have to see what? From second office to the municipal limit of the first office ka city. That I have to see. If that distance is up to 50 kilometers, it's fine. It's not more than 50. Up to 50 it is fine. Then the second office is exempted. See, exemption is for second office, not for third office. If I have 3 offices in the same city, second office is exempted. Third ke liye I need a separate member of ICI. Are you clear? Okay, now question. If I have a second office, okay, second office is exempted, but you still need to inform to ICAI. You still need to inform to ICAI which one of the 2 is your main office. So if you don't inform to ICAI, again you're guilty of professional misconduct. So see, 2 things. Second office mein you don't need another CA, but it has to be informed to ICAI which one is your main office. Okay, check this question over here. There is another office opened within 26 kilometers. Within 26, so as such you are not guilty, but no intimation was made to ICAI. So even though the distance is within 50 kilometers, but you will be liable for misconduct because you did not intimate. I told you out of 2, which one is your main office has to be intimated to ICAI. That's not done. That's why you're guilty. Next is KYC norms. Next is KYC norms for CA in practice. This is also important ones. Now see, whenever you open up a bank account, can I say bank keeps a KYC detail of customer? Same way, if a client comes to you, you should have a KYC detail of your client. You should have a KYC detail of client, and KYC details are mandatory in nature and apply for all assignments pertaining to attest function. Wherever you're signing. So whichever assignment I have where I sign, I need to ensure I keep the KYC details of my customer. Our client ke KYC detail I should need. Now which things are included in KYC detail? If your client is individual, तो general information, उसका name, PAN number, business description, last audited financials. Engagement type. This is individual. Okay, if it's a corporate entity, general information, engagement, and the regulatory, company's PAN, company's identification number, director's name, director's identification. If it's a non-corporate entity, partnership firm. Partnership firm है तो name, copy of PAN, business description, name of partners, and engagement information. So I need to keep KYC of the client mandatorily, yes, but only when I'm doing which type of work? Attestation function. Now check question 7. Mr. F gave advisory services. Okay, is advisory services attestation function? No. Okay, further he gave them GST consultancy. GST consultancy is also not attestation. Compilation engagement for historical financial information. Compilation engagement for historical financial information, that's attestation. वो compile करके आप sign करके आप दोगे आपका report. So that is attestation function. So you are not just doing one thing. If you are just given only advisory consultancy, you don't need to keep KYC detail. But here you are also doing compilation engagement for historical financial information. So you need to have KYC detail. You did not keep it, guilty. Clear? Next is disciplinary proceedings. Next is disciplinary proceedings. Come to the chart. Come to the chart. Okay, now pay attention. This is a flow chart for disciplinary proceeding. Now, if suppose I want to complain related to chartered accountant, किसको complain करूँ? ICAI. तो ICAI में किसको? तो complain along with the prescribed fee or information against the alleged misconduct by ICAI member. First, you give it to director discipline. This guy is an individual. director discipline individual. He will prima facie form an opinion whether you're guilty or not guilty. Okay, if he prima facie feels you're guilty, guilty of the matters coming in first schedule, he will transfer the case to board of discipline. If he feels you're guilty of matter in second schedule or both, he will transfer the case to disciplinary committee. Acha, this board of discipline or disciplinary committee may accept the case or reject the case. If they accept, they will inspect, they will conduct inquiry, and if they found you guilty, if they found you not guilty, close the matter. If they found you guilty, the board of discipline, the matter goes to board of discipline if it is related to first schedule. Board of discipline can take which action? One, they can just give you a reminder, reprimand the member. Second, they can remove your name up to 3 months, or they can put a fine up to rupees 1 lakh. Acha, this is only for matter related to first schedule. Acha, if matter related to second schedule or both, it goes to board of disciplinary committee. Disciplinary committee, what are the powers they have? If they find you guilty, they can just give a reminder. They can remove your name permanently or for whatever time they deem fit, or they can put a fine which is up to 5 lakh rupees. Okay, now if that director discipline prima facie felt you are not guilty, if he feels prima facie not guilty, still he has to submit everything to board of discipline. If board of discipline accepts you are not guilty, then the matter is closed. But if board of discipline rejects that you are not guilty, then in that case, if matter relates to first schedule, board of discipline themselves will move it. If matter relates to second schedule, they can transfer it to disciplinary committee, or they can just tell the director discipline to look further. Okay, now suppose the decision of board of discipline or disciplinary committee came, and either the chartered accountant is not happy or the director discipline is not happy, not you. The chartered accountant not happy or the director discipline is not happy, then they can appeal to appellate authority within 90 days of the decision. And what can appellate authority do? They can confirm, modify, set aside the order. They can impose, set aside, reduce or enhance the penalty. They can remit the case back to board of discipline, disciplinary committee, or any other thing whichever they deem fit. This was basically related to the disciplinary committees. Are you clear? Okay, now the important thing of the chapter. Your misconduct. 2 types of misconduct, professional and other misconduct. We have 2 schedules. Schedule 1, that's first schedule, and second schedule. Professional misconduct is covered under your part 1, 2, 3 of first schedule and part 1 and 2 of second schedule. Other misconduct is covered under part 4 of first schedule and part 3 of second schedule. So part 1 mein there are 4, the first schedule mein there are 4 parts, second schedule mein there are 3 parts. The last one in both is other misconduct. The earlier ones are professional misconduct. And other misconduct need not be only related to your professional work. It can be related to anything whichever brings disrepute to ICI. Even your personal. My home loan EMI got bounced. I did not basically make the payment. Home loan EMI is bounced due to insufficient fund. For that also, ICAI can penalize me because the headline will be chartered accountant ka basically home loan or EMI is bounced. So the thing is basically anything wrong done in your personal life also they can take actions. That's coming under other misconduct. Fine. Now come to the schedules. There are 2 schedules. First schedule, second schedule. First schedule there are 4 parts, second schedule there are 3 parts. In your first schedule part 1 there are 12 clauses, first schedule part 2 there are 2 clauses, first schedule part 3 3 clauses, part 4 there are 2 clauses. Now first schedule part 1 is for those who are in practice, first schedule part 2 is for those who are in service, part 3 is for both, and part 4 other misconduct for both. So let's start with the first schedule part 1. 12 clauses. Important is to remember the language of the clauses. So can I write the clause generally? Answer is no. So can I write the clause generally? Answer is no. The language of clause should come in a proper way. Marks are basically for this. Okay, so let's start. Part 1, first schedule. It is for professional misconduct, chartered accountant in practice. A CA in practice will be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he, now this is a common line for all clause. A CA in practice is guilty of professional misconduct if he, clause 1, allows any person to practice in his name as chartered accountant unless such a person is also a CA in practice and is in partnership with him or employed with him. So in simple words, if you allow someone else to practice in your name, someone else goes and represents that he is you. You told him that you go and tell I'm you. That is not allowed. If you see, there was a question, CA Sant, CA Pant. So what happened over here is CA Sant was a newly qualified person. CA Pant was kind of his father's chartered accountant, and his father's chartered accountant allowed him to sit in his office voluntarily, not as an employee, not as a partner, just aake baitho, you learn the work. So what happened is, can I say CA Sant was not a partner, not an employee, and many places CA Sant went on behalf of CA Pant, telling that I'm coming from Pant's office. So can I say you allowed others to practice in your name? Pant was held guilty. Are you clear with this? First one. Your employees can go and tell it's you coming from your firm, or your partners can go and tell I'm coming from them. Okay, next one. It is actually sharing fees with others, but language is very important. If you pay or allow or even agree to pay or allow, pay nahi kiya, just agree kiya. You agree to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share, commission, brokerage in the fees or profit of your professional business to any person other than the member of ICI, a partner or a retired partner, a legal representative or deceased partner, a member of any other professional body which is recognized by council, or a person having such qualification as is prescribed by the council. So council ने जो prescribe किया है for rendering services, that is basically covered. Okay, so can I say that if I share fees with this people A, B, C, D, E, I'm not guilty. So other than this, if I am sharing, I am guilty. Okay, now if you just check over here, I can share the fees with, they've written a member of ICI, then partner or a retired partner. So with a retired partner also, can we share the fees? Yes, you can share the fees with a retired partner, but there should be a clause related to it in your deed. If deed says, then you should be allowed. Achha, you can also share with the legal representative of a deceased partner. Can I share with a legal representative of deceased partner? Yes, but again, it should be there in the partnership deed. Achha, question. There was a sole proprietor, CA Mr. A. If sole proprietor expires, okay, so can the widow or a legal executor sell the practice along with the name to someone else? Yes, so they can sell the practice along with the name to someone else. Okay, can they charge for goodwill? Answer is yes. Achha, can that a legal executor of a proprietor share the profits with the person to whom it is sold? Answer is no. See, legal representative of deceased partner is allowed. Proprietor ka legal representative cannot share the fees, cannot share the profit. They can charge for goodwill. Goodwill ka payment can be lump sum or even installment mein, but it should not be linked with revenue. It should not be linked with profit. Acha. Now, coming to this D and E point, a member of professional body or person having such qualification. The member of professional body includes your ICSI ka member, ICWI ka member, Indian Institute of Architect member, actuary, bar council member, that's lawyer, professional body outside India relating to accountancy like CPA, ACCA. So member of CPA, ACCA wala thing, so they are also covered, provided such professional body is recognized by council. So sir, I entered into a fee sharing agreement with a CPA or a ACCA guy. Is it allowed? If they are recognized by council, then allowed. So don't write yes, no. If they are recognized by council, then allowed. Okay, this was basically member of professional body. Okay, person having such qualification, which qualification? It's company secretary, cost accountant, actuary, engineering, law, MBA. Okay, the fee sharing with MBA is allowed. Sir, can I share fees with a BCom guy, accountant? No, you can't share with BCom guy. Death of a partner, you can share fees with the legal executor only if there is a provision in the deed. Acha. Proprietor hai, there cannot be a fee sharing with the proprietor. Ha. The widow can sell off that practice with the firm name, everything, and they can charge for goodwill. Goodwill ka amount can be lump sum also, in installment also, but it should not be linked with profit or revenue. Fine. Okay. Check question number 15. You shared fees with your article. Okay, is article a member of ICI? Dear, अभी आपने exam clear नहीं किए, तो article को you are giving 1% of profit, not allowed, you are guilty. Because you are allowed only with that member of ICI and the limited people. Next one is clause number 3. Clause 2 was sharing fees with others. Clause 3 is sharing fees of others. But language is important. You agree, you accept or agree to accept. You accept or agree to accept any part of profit of a professional work of a person who is not a member of ICI. Okay, so you are accepting a part of profit of professional work from others. Acha, now for those people with whom you can share the fees, you can also share their fees also. So those people who are allowed in clause 2, all are also allowed in clause 3 as well. Are you clear? Okay, fourth one, enters into partnership. You enter into partnership in or outside India with any person other than. So if following people you enter into partnership, that's fine. Other than this, if you're entering, you're guilty. You enter into partnership in or outside India with any person other than a CA in practice. Now, actually, it should be interpreted as member of ICI. Actually, it should be interpreted as member of ICI because I'm allowed to be a partner with a company secretary. So I should be allowed to be a partner with a non-practicing CA. So interpret it as member of ICI or a member of any professional body having prescribed qualification, or a person who has a qualification as is recognized by CG or the council, and one more, a resident who but for his resident abroad is entitled to be registered as a member under section 4 subsection 1 clause 5. Okay, now what is this, a resident who but for his resident abroad? Imagine a person was living in Australia and he has done Australian CPA. Person was living in Australia, he has done Australian CPA. Now he shifts to India. So can I say now he's a resident? Earlier he was a resident abroad. And now our ICAI has a tie-up with the Australian CPA Institute that based on Australian CPA degree is allowed to become a member of ICI. So resident who but for his resident abroad is allowed to become registered as a member of ICI. So if that guy shifts to India, is allowed to become a member of ICI, and now I enter into partnership with him, that's fine. Okay. Now those people prescribed qualification, यहाँ पे MBA is not written. So if you just recall, fee sharing with MBA was allowed, but partnership with MBA is not allowed. Fee sharing with MBA is allowed, but partnership with MBA is not allowed. Are you clear? Okay, now November 18 RTP question. You entered into partnership with Rahim, a practicing CA of foreign recognized professional body. Clearly given foreign recognized professional body. Are you guilty? Not guilty. Okay, you enter into partnership with a CPA in New York and a chartered accountant from ICAEW. Is it allowed? Now see, if CPA as well as the chartered accountant of ICAEW, they are covered under professional bodies which are recognized by council, then you are not guilty. So see, clearly word written is if they are professional bodies outside India relating to accountancy and recognized by council. We don't know whether they are recognized or not. So don't write in that way. If they are recognized, then not guilty. Okay, the clause 1, 2, 3, 4 done. Clause number 5. Okay, clause 5, 6, 7 are related. 5, 6, 7 are all related to getting businesses. Fifth one is getting business through agents. Sixth one is getting business through advertisement. And seventh one is advertises your professional attainment. You boast about yourself or you use a designation other than CA. 3 are there, but language is important. I'm reading the language. You secure any professional business. Either through the service of a person who is not your employee or who is not your partner, or by means who is not open, or by means which are not opened by chartered accountant. So you are trying to get business through an agent. So you try to get professional business through a service of a person, not your employee, who is not your partner, or by means which are not open to chartered accountant. ठीक है? Sixth one, you solicit client or professional work through either circular, advertisement, personal communication, interview or by any other means. So again you are trying to get business through advertisement. वहाँ पे ऊपर था through agent, यहाँ पे through advertisement. And seventh one is basically you advertise your professional attainment or use this designation other than chartered accountant on professional documents, visiting card, letterhead, signboard, unless it's a degree of a recognized university or a letters indicating a membership of any professional body recognized by council. Okay, these three are kind of as such related. Now question. See, they say that you cannot do advertisement to get your work. Being a practicing CA, can I also do coaching? Yes, you can do coaching. But coaching ka मैं marketing करूँ, is it allowed? No. If you are practicing and doing coaching, coaching ka marketing is not allowed to you. Okay, can you respond to the tenders? Can you respond to the tenders? Tenders which are open only for chartered accountant, you can respond if the minimum fees is written. If tenders which are open for all, you can definitely respond even if the minimum fees is not written. Are you clear? So only for CA, minimum fees should be stated. For others also, then minimum fee is not stated, still I can apply. Acha, can I give a earnest money deposit while applying for tender? Yes, I can give a earnest money deposit while applying for tender. Now, which are the advertisements allowed? What is allowed? Requesting another CA for work. Advertisement of changes in partnership, address, telephone number, dissolution of firm, bare statement of fact that can be given. And you can give advertisement in ICAI journal or newsletter trying to seek the work. The ICAI journal mein advertisement is allowed. Okay, this is important ESB clarification. Acha, can I print my photograph on visiting card? Nowadays there's a system of printing photograph on visiting card so that people can easily recognize. Answer is no, not allowed. Not allowed to print photograph on visiting card. Acha, can I have a QR code in the visiting card? Someone scans the code and detail comes in the phone. QR code is allowed only if only those information which is allowed in visiting card comes by scanning. If by scanning your photo also comes, which is not allowed in visiting card, no, then not allowed. So only those information which is allowed in visiting card should come from QR code. Acha, can I use a designation insolvency professional or can I use a designation registered valuer together with chartered accountant? So registered valuer, insolvency professional, can I use the designation? Answer is yes, they are treated as a degree recognized by central government or council. Did you understand? These 3 points important. Okay, telephone directory is fine. Now next, greeting cards, invitation. Achha, whenever we are sending greeting cards or invitation, can we use the firm name? The firm name can be used, designation. You can also describe yourself as chartered accountant. When this greeting cards, invitation are for marriages related or opening of new branch, uska invitation, or change in premises or telephone number, uske related hai. But this greeting card invitation should be sent only to your client, your relative and your close friends. To your client, your close relatives and your close friends. Acha, so imagine there's a religious ceremony at one of the partners' place. If he invites clients of the firm, it's fine. But if he invites personal client of other partner, that's not fine. I can invite my client. Firm ke client is also my client. But if I invite personal client of other partner, that's not allowed. We had a question of CA, Shrishti and Misty. I hope you're clear. Okay, now section 140 subsection 4, appointment of auditor in place of retiring auditor. The retiring auditor has a right of representation. Whenever you're making a right of representation, the letter should be in a dignified manner and you may indicate your willingness to continue. The opportunity should not be abused to secure needless publicity or to abuse the company. Okay. Okay, can a chartered accountant have a website? Answer is yes. Acha, website name you can keep as such anything, but try to have it preferably nearer to the individual name or firm name. Is it mandatory? No. But our website should not be kind of marketing wala, bestca.com, that all is not allowed. Website should be on pull basis, not push. People should take the things. You should not push the things. Pull basis, not push. Which date the website is updated, that you need to tell. You're also allowed to have web pages. If you don't want to have website, web pages are also allowed. Okay, now which are the information allowed in website? Your firm name, year of establishment allowed in website. Year of establishment is not allowed on letterhead. Letterhead pe not allowed. Addresses is fine. Nature of service is rendered but on pull basis. Partner with the area of expertise only on pull basis. Details of employee, unka expertise, pull basis. Job vacancies, number of articles, pull basis. Nature of assignment handle, pull basis. Names of client, fees charge cannot be given. Nature is different thing. We have handled this type of assignment. Names of client, fees charge cannot be given. Acha, photograph, passport size photograph allowed. Format, it can be any format. Color, it can be any color. Articles can be there. Chat rooms are permitted with strict confidentiality protocol. Online services can be given free of charge or with the payment. Anything is there. Acha, in your website, you can have a link to. ICI website, regional council, branches of ICI or government departments. Like you can have income tax department ka link or you can have a GST department ka link. वो सारे आप कर सकते हो. Okay, can I tell people to visit my website? No. So on your letterhead you written visit our website, not allowed. If you just write website, chalega. Visit our website, not allowed. Okay, email me, I'm sending details about my website, telling people to click on my website, that all is not allowed. Achha, can I have my own logo? No, you can't have your own logo. ICAI ka common logo is there, that only is allowed. Now, there are many third-party platforms, bank, financial institutions, newspaper companies, wherein they provide consultancy services. Third-party platform, they provide consultancy service and they want CAs. So can I be there on the third-party platform? Kisi third-party ki website mein can I be there providing consultancy? Answer is yes. But they should describe you as a chartered accountant. Your contact detail, your firm name, etc. should not come. Your contact detail, your firm name, etc. should not come. So can I be registered in the website of some bank where they are providing consultancy services? Answer is yes. Are you clear? Okay, now check over here. You sent an email telling to people about your expertise and telling to hit the website. That's not allowed. Okay, your website name xyz.com is fine. It's on push technology is wrong. Color is bright green is okay. Partner ke names are given, it's fine. Major client ke name are not okay. Client ke name not okay. Fine, this is there. Now going to some other types of solicitation. I go to the important ones. Okay, now if say for example one chartered accountant introduced you to some client. Imagine CA Mr. A is the auditor of Z. CA Mr. A is auditor of Z Limited. He introduced you and now they gave you some consultancy work. Later on they want to give you the audit only. So can I say I'm trying to take up the work of a member who introduced me to the client? So trying to take up the original work of a member who introduced you to the client should not be done unless you have his permission. That you should not be doing it. Okay. Okay, advertisement for silver, golden, platinum, centenary celebration. 25 saal, 50 saal, 75, 100 years over. Can I give in newspaper our this many years are over? Answer is yes, this is allowed. Now allowed, pehle allowed nahi tha. But again you need to ensure that you're not doing much marketing about yourselves. Okay, can I sponsor the activities? Can I sponsor? You can only sponsor those activities conducted by ICI. So program organizing unit of ICI. अच्छा sir, CSR कर सकते हैं? CSR कर सकते हो, but firm name cannot come. In CSR activities also the firm name cannot be coming up. ठीक है? Movie credits में name coming, that's fine. Educational videos, this is more important. Nowadays you might have seen many people making educational videos. I am in practice. Can I make educational videos? You can make educational videos. You can describe yourself as chartered accountant. Don't boast about yourself. Don't talk about your firm name. Don't talk about your contact details. The firm name, contact details should not come. Boosting should not come. You can describe yourself as chartered accountant. Okay, next one. Newly qualified chartered accountant. You started practice. Your friend gave an idea to start giving stock certification, online services and stock certification. So what did you do? You did some social media posts, tag some 30 traders, easy online stock services. No, you're doing all this marketing. This is not allowed. Clause number 6 and 7. Designation we already covered. Publicity in magazine, press, वो सारी चीजें. If your article comes in newspaper or magazine, that all is allowed. They can describe you as a chartered accountant. Firm name, address, contact detail cannot be given. Firm name, address cannot be given. They can describe you as a chartered accountant. Your small photo comes also in magazine. That also is fine. So photograph, brief particular of member is permitted, provided no payment is made, no publicity of attainment, no reference to the name, address, services of the firm. Okay. Fine. Appearance in public forum, that's the same thing, including internet, in TV shows you are coming, the same way they should not describe your firm name or services. They can describe you as just a chartered accountant. Where you're going in seminar and speaking, again you can describe yourself as chartered accountant, no reference to name, address, services of the firm. Are you clear? Okay, can I train the staff of my client? मैं client के staff को training दे सकता हूँ, दे सकते हो, you're deemed to be in practice. ठीक है. Name board, you can have any type of name board, but only thing is light wala, neon signboard, large signboard, they are not allowed. You have to use your own discretion. Acha, at your home you can have a name board describing yourself as chartered accountant. Firm ka name board cannot be there at your name, at your home. At your home I write down AB and Associates. No, that's not out. I can describe myself CA Mr. A, chartered accountant. That much is fine at your residence. Firm name cannot be at the residence board. ठीक है. Prospectus wala, it's okay. Write-up is also fine. The chartered accountants are allowed to advertise through write-ups. Write-up is just sharing about your detail. Whatever details allowed in website, similar. वो अपने एक booklet form में, और basically you come up with some article लेके आए, उसमें last में you give details about your services, your firm, etc. Nature of services. So write-ups are the articles written by generally the CA firm. That is fine, allowed, but that should be circulated only to whom? Your client, your friends, your relatives. Next, clause number 8, you accept position as an auditor previously held by another chartered accountant without communicating with him in writing. You accept position as auditor previously held by someone else. If I accept the position without communicating with him in writing, I am disqualified. Acha, now, when I should not accept the audit, when the old auditor was removed wrongly or his undisputed fees is pending. Acha, sir, undercutting fees or he had given a qualified report, I may accept. But if he had given a qualified report, they are removing him. Better is not to take the audit, but I can take it. Which two cases I cannot take? If he is removed wrongly or there is an undisputed fees pending. Okay, and now see over here, they've clearly given how to communicate with the previous auditor. And there has to be a positive evidence of communication. How do I have a positive evidence of communication? Either there's a registered post acknowledgement due you had sent, or by hand you had sent with a written acknowledgement. आपने हाथ दिया था and you have a written acknowledgement, or you had sent it by any other mode. But you have a basically acknowledgement coming. You have an acknowledgement coming through email office. Uska email which is registered with ICI or his last official email ID. I might have sent by speed post, but I have a email acknowledging through his official email ID or the email registered with ICI. दो में से कोई भी. Then in that case it is fine. Okay, I sent on registered post acknowledgement due, premises was locked, acknowledgement likha hai, premises locked, my work is over, my responsibility will not be there. And see, this is applicable for all audits. So there is mandatory communication for all audits, statutory audit, internal audit, tax audit, GST audit, anything. But consultancy, other work mein communication is optional, not mandatory. Fine. Next one is accept appointment as an auditor of a company without ascertaining whether the provisions of Companies Act relating to appointment section 139(40) are complied or not. Clause number 10 is you charge or offer to charge. You charge, accept or offer to charge or accept in respect of any professional employment fees which are based on percentage of profit or which are contingent upon finding or result of such work, except permitted by the regulations. So can I charge fees which is percentage of profit? No. Can I charge fees which is based on result? If you win the case this much? No. Except permitted where it's allowed. If you are a receiver or liquidator, percentage of asset realized. If you are auditor of cooperative society, chalega, cooperative society, percentage of paid up capital, working capital, net worth. Valuer for direct tax purpose. Direct tax purpose. Okay, if I'm a valuer for amalgamation, nahi, wo direct tax nahi hai. Fundraising में percentage of fundraise, IPO related thing. If I'm advisor for IPO, if I'm तो उसमें percentage of fund raised. Debt recovery services, percentage of debt recovered. Cost optimization, percentage of cost benefit derived, and some others. ठीक है? Now check over here clause number 11. If you engage in any business or occupation other than the profession of CA, so being CA in practice, I cannot do anything else except those which are permitted. Okay, so what is permitted to you? So one is this general permitted list. There's a generally permitted list. I can do this. I don't have to take a permission of ICA. Generally permitted. What? Employment with CA in practice or a firm of CA. Private tutorship. What we are doing is a private tutorship. Authorship of book. Holding LIC license for renewal commission. Attending class, appearing for exams. Elective office is MP, MLA. Honorary office bearership. Honorary. You are working as honorary trustee, busty, etc. वो सब चलेगा. Acting as a notary public, justice of peace. Part-time tutorship in a coaching organization of ICAI. Okay. Valuer of paper, paper setter, evaluator, head examiner, वो सारी चीजें for any examination. Okay, if I'm a paper setter for BCom exam, चलेगा? Generally permitted. Editorship of professional journal. Other than professional journal नहीं, सिर्फ professional journal are covered. अच्छा, stock market related journal is not professional. I repeat, stock market related journal is not professional journal. Okay, acting as a surveyor or loss assessor for insurance. Acting as recovery consultant, owning agricultural land and doing agricultural activity. These all things are generally permitted. Then there's a list given which is allowed with the specific permission. What is the list given which is with the specific permission? Okay, you want to be employed part-time or full-time with some business concern. Non-business, NGO mein, but you are working not on charitable, professional basis pe. MD or whole-time director. If you want to become a normal director, non-executive, वो generally permitted है. To become a non-executive director is generally permitted, but to become a whole-time director or managing director, then you need a permission of ICI specifically. Acha, one more thing, if I'm a non-executive director, I cannot be auditor in that company. I may be doing audit of other companies, but I can be a non-executive director, generally permitted. If you want to have an interest in family business में interest, if it devolves to you due to that will में आया, आप continue कर सकते हो, provided you are not taking active part in management. Interest in educational institution, part-time, full-time lectureship at some colleges you want to take. So any college में part-time, full-time lectureship you want to take, that is basically allowed, but specific permission चाहिए. Lectureship of college, specific permission. Editorship of other than professional journal and any other business. So any other thing you want to do which was not covered in generally permitted, you have to take a specific permission of ICI. Acha, one more thing over here. This is a good question. Nowadays, most of the people want to deal in stock market. If I want to do F&O trading, futures and options. If I want to do future and option, so now they're told if you are dealing in future and option relating to equity, it is not considered as business only, it's treated as your investment only. If I am doing equity में F&O, वो business ही नहीं है, it's not a separate business. Do I need any permission of ICI? No. But if you see this question, you want to do trading in commodity derivative. F&O derivative, equity wala. Equity is permitted. Commodity is not covered under general permission list. इसके अंदर you need to take a specific approval. To check the Central Council in 25th March 2001, they have given an approval to trade in equity derivative. यहाँ पे you cannot trade in commodity derivative. Are you clear with this? Okay, next. Now see, members who are in part-time practice. When do I say I'm part-time in practice? I'm practicing doing something else. Now doing something else generally permitted or specifically permitted? I cannot do attestation function. I cannot train article except अच्छा, generally permitted list में except the first two. Okay, if I'm doing except first two anything, I can still do attestation function till train article. And now, if I want to do private tutorship or lectureship, if I'm doing private tutorship or lectureship up to 25 hours a week, so 25 hours a week, I take lectures, private tutorship or at colleges, and I'm doing my practice, I'm still allowed to train articles, do attestation function. But otherwise, I'm not allowed to train article, do attestation function. I may do just consultancy wala work. Are you clear? So you are not allowed to train article or do attestation function if you are in part-time practice. Generally permitted list other than first two कर रहे हो तो चलेगा. Private tutorship or lectureship you are doing up to 25 hours a week चलेगा. ठीक है. Director, if you want to become a normal simple director, it's allowed, that's fine. Now 12th clause is important. Allows a person not being a member of ICI in practice or be a member not your partner. So not being a member of ICI in practice or a member who is not your partner to sign on his behalf or on behalf of firm any balance sheet, statement of P&L, reports, financial statement. Reports, financial statement will also include certificates. So if you allow someone else to sign on your behalf, then again you are guilty of professional misconduct. If it's a firm is appointed, a partner who is a chartered accountant can sign. Others cannot sign. Now, what are the things where I can delegate? What are the things I can delegate? Like routine, audit queries, questionnaire, draft observation, routine correspondence, fees ka invoice, that all can be signed by employees, wo sab chalega. But balance sheet, P&L, reports, certificates, they all cannot be signed. ठीक है, check this question. Audit query sign करी चलेगा. Net worth certificate sign किया, no, wrong. Attended GST proceeding, वो चलेगा. Representing, it's fine, you're not signing. So that was done. So this was your part 1 first schedule. Now part 2 of first schedule is for members who are in service. Now there are two clauses. One is sharing fees with others, sharing fees of others. So pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly, indirectly, any share in emolument of the employment undertaken by him. Your salary you are sharing with someone. Clause 2, accept or agree to accept any part of fees, profit, gain from a lawyer, chartered accountant, broker, agent, customer of the company, firm, person where you're working. So if I'm working in a company, uska chartered accountant, lawyer, consultant, debtor, customer, supplier, if they give me something as a gratification or by way of commission, that's not allowed. The simple words, wherever you're working na, uske bando ke paas se commission mat lo. ठीक है. So this is basically part 2 first schedule. Part 3 of first schedule, there are 3 clauses. Not being a fellow, access fellow. You do not supply the information called for or does not comply with the requirement asked for by the ICI. And third, while inviting a professional work, you respond to tenders or you do advertisement which is contradicting or violating clause 6, 7, wo wala advertisement, or you give any information knowing it to be false. So you're giving information knowing it to be false. While inviting work, responding to tender or while advertising through write-up gives information knowing it to be false. So soliciting work, false information. This was there. Now part 4, there are 2 clauses. Which are the 2 clauses? First one, if you're held guilty by civil or criminal code of an offense involving basically and you're imprisoned for a period not exceeding 6 months. Exceeding 6 months is in schedule 2. And you do anything which brings disrepute to ICAI, that is basically clause number 2. So this was your first schedule, part 1, 2, 3, 4. Now going to second schedule, part 1. This is for CA in practice, professional misconduct. See, second schedule is more. It's kind of more wala thing. And that goes to disciplinary committee, and disciplinary committee can remove your name even permanently as well. Acha, if you disclose information acquired in the course of professional engagement to any person other than the client without the consent of client or as required by law. So if you communicate to any person other than the client without the consent of client or required by law, you are guilty. Acha, you went into some seminar mein you gave some example of internal control of your client. Seminar mein you gave example of internal control of your client without taking a consent of client. You will be guilty of professional misconduct. ठीक है. the company is taking loan, bank people have called you asking details about the company. You cannot tell the details about company unless you have a permission of the client. ठीक है. This is fine, tax wala thing. Okay, now clause 2. Now clause number 2, you certify or submit in your name or in the name of your firm. You certify or submit your name or name of your firm a report on examination of financial statement unless such examination of the financial statement and records have been made by you, your partner, your employee or another CA in practice. This is certification without examination. Either you should have checked or your partner or your employee, or you should have got it checked from another CA in practice. Now see, when you get it checked from another CA in practice, it's kind of you are partnering with them for this work. Fine. Clause 3, you permit your name or the name of the firm to be written in connection with the earnings which are contingent upon findings for future transaction wala in a manner that you vouch for accuracy of forecast. So this is nothing but you vouch for accuracy of forecast in a manner, basically the future related earnings you are reporting, and it is like you are reporting these figures are showing a true and fair view. You cannot comment on figures if they are related to future. You comment on assumptions based on which they are prepared. Assumptions are reasonable or not. Fourth one, if you're expressing opinion on financial statement of any business where you, your firm, your partner has substantial interest. Okay, so can I do audit of my father's business? नहीं. अच्छा, यहाँ पे you, your partner, your firm has substantial interest, including even the relative. If your relative has substantial interest, still you cannot be reporting over there. And यहाँ पे report is also covering certificates. यहाँ पे the report financial statement would cover both reports and certificates. Fine. Fifth and sixth kind of related. What is fifth one? If you fail to disclose a material fact known to you which is not disclosed in financial, and disclosure of which is necessary in making those financial statement where you are concerned with them in professional capacity. Okay, there's something not there in financial, it should be there, and you don't write it, that's clause 5. Something which is there in financial, wrong, and you don't report, that's clause 6. Not there in financial, should be there, and you're not reporting, clause 5. There in financial, wrong, and you're not reporting, that's clause 6. I hope you're clear. Clause 5, clause 6. यहाँ पे fail to disclose a material fact, not disclose in financial, fail to report a material misstatement appearing in financials. Okay. Seventh one is if you do not exercise due diligence or you're grossly negligent in conduct of professional duties. So anywhere if something comes, CA did not check this, CA did not check this, so you can write clause 7 easily. Clause 8, if you fail to obtain sufficient information which is necessary for the expression of opinion unless the exceptions are sufficient to negate the expression of opinion. Means, if at all there are exceptions and exceptions are such because of which I can give disclaimer. Like books were destroyed and because of which I'm not able to obtain sufficient information and I give a disclaimer, to chalega. But if I don't give a disclaimer and I don't obtain sufficient information, then I'll be guilty. Okay, next. Clause number 9. If you're not following auditing standards or guidance note, you have to invite attention. To fail to invite attention to material departure from generally accepted procedure of auditing. Audit related procedure not followed, that you don't invite attention, uske liye you are guilty. Okay. 10th is important. If you fail to keep the money of client other than your fees, remuneration or money meant to be spent shortly. If you fail to keep the money of client in a separate bank account or you fail to use it for the purpose for which it is given within a reasonable time, then you are guilty. Acha, if client gave me money within a week, I have to deposit on his behalf, then no need to keep in a separate bank account. But client gave me money which I have to deposit on his behalf after 3 months, so currently keep it in a separate bank account. Acha, client gave me my fees only, usko separate bank account mein nahi rakhna dear. Okay, the money meant to be expended, no need to put. Money which are received for expenses to be incurred but not within a short time, put it in a separate bank account. Okay, next we have part 2 of second schedule. There are 4 clauses. This is for members generally, practice or non-practicing professional misconduct. Contravenes any of the provisions of the act, regulation made thereunder. So if you violate any of the provisions of this act, So this can also be a general clause written many places. Okay, this clause number 2, being an employee discloses the confidential information of the basically company, firm, person, wherever you are working. Clause number 3 is you give information to ICAI knowing it to be false. Now see, first schedule में क्या था? You don't give information to ICAI. यहाँ पे you give false information to ICAI. वहाँ पे था false information while securing work. यहाँ पे तो false information to ICAI. And fourth one, you defalcate or embezzle money which is received in professional capacity. ठीक है? And this is for both members in service as well as practice, both के लिए. And the last one over here is part number 3 of second schedule. Only one clause. If you're guilty of civil or criminal code and imprisoned for period exceeding 6 months over here. Okay, now there are some regulations relating to articles. One of them is very important. No premium to be charged. That's regulation 47. No premium to be charged for taking an article directly or indirectly. So if I say to article that I'll take you provided your father gives me loan, वो नहीं चलेगा. But I already taken an article. Later I need money. I take a loan from father. वो चलेगा. Because it is not for taking you as an article. No premium to be charged directly or indirectly. Plus the stipend, the minimum rates are given. That's okay. Stipend ka payment has to be done on monthly basis, and that too by a crossed check or a direct deposit. Cash mein stipend is not allowed. Monthly payment of stipend is mandatory. Minimum working hours is 35. Maximum kahin likha nahi hai. But that's fine. Articles should not engage in other business or profession. So ye sari cheezein are fine. Now coming to Council General Guidelines. 2-3 points are very good over here. I'll just take that. In your Council General Guidelines, these are applicable to everyone, whether in practice, whether in service. Okay. If you are an employee, you should act due diligently. You should not be negligent. Okay. Maintenance of books, whether it's CA, Chartered Accountant has to maintain the books of accounts, they're telling you are required to maintain cash book and ledger. Now, if a Chartered Accountant is going for Section 44 ADA, remember Section 44 ADA presumptive, you show 50% profession mein, still he has to maintain cash book and ledger because it's required over here, whether you go for 44 ADA under income tax or not. So that was a question. 44 ADA mein you're gone, you're not keeping any books, not allowed, you have to keep cash book and ledger. Tax audit, how many you can do is 60. The 60 per chartered accountant who is in practice. If it's a firm, so partners who are chartered accountant holding COP, for them 60 per chartered accountant. Fine. इसके अंदर 44 AD, ADA, AE वो presumptive वाले. If you want to show less than presumptive mandatory tax audit, they are not counted. If you want to show less than presumptive income mandatory audit, they are not counted in the limit of 60. Achha, can one partner, suppose there are 3 partners, 180 audit, tax audit, can one partner sign all 180? Can one partner sign all 180 on behalf of firm? Answer is yes. That is possible. Okay. If undisputed fees of previous auditor is pending, you cannot accept the audit. But if it's a sick unit, this is not applicable. If it's a sick unit, it's not applicable. When do I say undisputed? So it is there in the basically your balance sheet. It's signed by auditor, signed by the management. It's undisputed. Okay. Next, maximum audit assignment is 30, including that private companies wala. Remember the private company less than 100 crore paid up capital was not included in limit of 20. But with that private company, total can be 30. Okay, now this is important. Restriction on appointment as statutory auditor. Pay attention. See, if at all you are doing a statutory audit and you're also doing some other work other than section 144 allowed, so fees for other work should not exceed the statutory audit fees. So member in practice shall not accept appointment as statutory auditor. Kiska? PSU, government company, listed company, public company having a turnover 50 crores or more. If any other work you have taken whose remuneration exceeds the fees payable for statutory audit. If other work ka fees exceeding statutory audit, then statutory audit cannot be taken. One of them you need to take. ठीक है. Other work Other work will not include your audit, certification done by statutory auditor or representation before the authority. ठीक है, in-depthness point. See, if it's a company, you're indebted for exceeding 5 lakh disqualified. But other than company, limits are not given. Then, if you're indebted for amount exceeding 1 lakh disqualified, statute may limit it, take statute limit, not there, take this. If previous auditor is removed unjustifiably, you should not take up the audit. Tender we already did. UDIN number is important. Okay, previously, people who are not CA, they used to issue the certificates. थप्पा ही मारना था ना, किसी का भी थप्पा मार दो, sign कर दो. So to avoid this malpractices of fake people giving the certificate of CA, we came out with this unique document identification number. So whenever any CA is giving a certificate or a report, they have to put in this unique document identification number. And this is mandatory for all kind of certification, GST audit, tax audit, other audit assurance, attestation function. So February 1, 19 से it was for all certificate. April 19 से for GST and tax audit. And July 19 से for all other audits, assurance, attestation function. This is to curb the malpractice, false certification. Next one is networking. Okay, now networking. See, what happens is, like Deloitte is a network. There are so many network firms under Deloitte. Like we have a CC Choksey and Company, AF Ferguson and Company. So many network firms are there under Deloitte. Now what will happen is all of them will use a common software. They all will have a common audit methodology. They all will have basically a common training program. So can I say they are having a network to share the resources, to share the cost, उन सब चीज के लिए. So that is a network. Now earlier what used to happen, network was not registered. The firms were registered. Now network also needs to be registered with ICAI so that if something is going on wrong in one firm, other network firm also would have done wrong. They all can be penalized together. So network क्या है? Network is a larger structure aimed at cooperation, clearly aimed at profit or cost sharing, common ownership, control, management, common quality control procedures, common business strategy, common brand name, and sharing a significant part of professional resources. Achha, if there are two firms, they share fees. If there are two firms, they share the fees. If I give you client, you give me money, you give me client, I give you money. That is not network. You have to share a significant part of professional resources. तो सब होता है कॉस्ट शेयरिंग के लिए, वो जस्ट रेफरल फीस के लिए. दैट्स नॉट बेसिकली योर नेटवर्क. तो वेदर इट्स अ नेटवर्क और नॉट, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन फैक्ट्स एंड सर्कमस्टांसेस. Okay, if it is aimed at profit or cost sharing, it is a network. But if it's a minor cost, like say common training program, bas, that's it. Minor cost shared, then it's not a network. Okay, common brand name hai, definitely a network. Okay, significant professional resources are there, shared, then it's a network. Acha, agar network hai, to network has to be registered with ICAI. Network, now network can be a sole proprietorship or a partnership or a LLP or a company. And network mein the name at the end will be and affiliates. So it's not an associates, it's an affiliates. So if it's a partnership firm, the AB and affiliates. If it's LLP, the AB affiliates LLP. If it's a company, AB affiliates private limited, that way. Network you need to register with ICAI. Acha, and one firm can join only one network. If there are common partners wale firm can also join one network. If common partners are there, that two firms can join only one network, not the different networks. So first of all, network ka name approve karana padega. Once the name is approved, within 3 months, you get it registered with ICAI. Okay, now there's one more thing. Whenever there's a network, ethical compliance, imagine, I am giving audit services, other network firm is giving other work. Remember, if I am doing audit, other works ka fee, I cannot charge more than the audit wala. But if my other network firms are giving other work, the other work for fees cannot exceed 3 times the audit fee. If I only do audit and other work fees should not exceed audit fee. If I do audit, other network firms do other work, तो वहां पे 3 times the audit fees. ठीक है? Now every network will have a rules for internal rules and regulation. उसको बोलते हैं bylaws. Bylaws is internal rules and regulation for how basically appointment of managing committee, how to administer the network, fees paid by the members, identifying partners who will be responsible for assignment, dispute settlement, developing training material, developing software. इसके लिए we have rules, regulation, internal bylaws. Logo guidelines, can I have my own logo? Answer is no. There's a common logo, basically C with basically a ulta tick. The ulta tick is there and it's basically in a rounded rectangle. Rectangle hai, usme corners are rounded. The rounded rectangle, letter CA is put with CA is in blue, corporate color, tick basically is in green, upside down tick which is in green color. You have to use this logo only, don't rotate the logo, tilt the logo, don't change the colors of the logo. ठीक है. Okay, practicing in a corporate form. So they're telling a chartered accountant can form a company but only for the purpose of providing management and consultancy services exclusively for rendering this thing. Acha, if I form a company, I can become a whole-time director, managing director over there. I can become whole-time director, managing, and still I'll be allowed to do attestation functions. I can train the articles, wo sab allowed hoga. But this company is created exclusively for management consultancy. Now, this company also cannot do advertisement. They also have to follow basically that clause number 6 and 7, which was given under your part 1 of first schedule. They also cannot do it. So when I am a managing director, whole-time director of a company specifically created for management consultancy, can I still do attestation function? Answer is yes. TK, self-regulatory measures, these are just recommended, not mandatory, and it's not important from exam angle. Leave it. Recent decisions by Ethical Standard Board. Recent decisions may only one of them is important. Being a internal auditor, can I also become a GST auditor? No. Internal auditor, GST auditor independent hai. Internal auditor works for management, not allowed. Are you clear? Are you clear? Okay, so we are done with these 2 chapters. Company audit done, professional ethics done. Remaining topics will cover up tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp. We'll start with the auditing standards and 2 o'clock onwards, I'll go to the remaining chapters, whichever are there. And just remember one thing, focus on the road in front of you. Focus on the road in front of you. Constantly looking in a rear view mirror is going to make you crash. Sir, मेरा last 2 paper SFM अच्छा नहीं गया, FR अच्छा नहीं गया, या sir, earlier my papers didn't well, or sir, I feel my preparations are not apt. वो सब past है. Focus on the time which you're having. Focus on the road which is there in front of you. If you're just constantly looking back, audit paper and thinking about SFM, things are not going to work, man. So leave what is gone. Focus on the things which are there in your hands and make the remaining papers of yours the best one. Any doubts anybody's having, do let me know, and please type in the comments how did you like the lectures. Any changes you felt were required, do let me know so that tomorrow I can plan accordingly. And you can also DM to me directly as well, any suggestions or recommendations which you are having. You already have my social media handle, all the accounts, everywhere you just write down Facebook mein, YouTube mein, or basically in Instagram or Telegram, CA Niket Thaker, you'll be able to find me. Okay, now there's a question, sir, what do we need to do anything after the class or in the break? Now, I'll just say that whatever things we did over here in class, if you felt that there were points in some of the things which I'm not able to recall, you do that things in break time or after the class. So majority, like some places there are points, like suppose disclosure related to Benami property, 5 points were there. If you feel I'm not able to recall, just go and see that 5 points. I'm not telling you to go and see qualification, disqualification, that you remember. So jo cheez you feel that, oh, I won't be able to remember, only that thing you refer in the break or after the class. Pratik says, sir, common partner network thing. Now imagine, say for example, there's ABC and Co. and there is ADE and Co. So can I say A is a common partner? So ABC and Co, ADE and Co, they can join only one network. It cannot be ABC is with Deloitte and ADE is with KPMG. That will not be allowed. If there are common partner, both the firms can join only one network. Anything else? Keep smiling, prepare well. and be 100% ready from your side for the examinations. Thank you, Akshari. Thank you, Vidhi. Thank you, Sridhar. Thank you, Prateek. Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you, Vadiraj. Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you, Anand. Thank you, Munahari. Thank you, Hinal. Chalo, good night. See you all tomorrow.